Hello and welcome to the Captain's Table, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Berserker01, Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here at the AstroPub, your space bar at the end of Twitch. This is the Captain's Table. This is a podcast where I bring people from all over the Star Citizen universe to talk about Star Citizen. We're coming up on CitizenCon, and so I put out the call for people to come on and talk about CitizenCon, and these wonderful folks all volunteered to talk because all of them are veteran backers and experienced with Star Citizen and CitizenCon specifically. And I figured, who better to talk about how CitizenCon works than people who've been there before and have been in the community for a very long time, because I know a lot of folks, maybe you listening or watching right now, have never been to a CitizenCon. Don't know what it's like, especially maybe never been to a live CitizenCon since 2018 since we've had a live CitizenCon. Or was it 2019? 2019 was the
2019 was Manchester.
2019.
Yeah. 2019. So it's been 3 years almost. So 4 years.
4.
So it's been a long time. So the kind of how it works and how it functions is always a little confusing. And I know a lot of folks who are brand new to the community this year or these last couple of years may not know the kind of hype and the kind of what to expect. So that's what this is all about. We're going to be setting CitizenCon expectations in terms of what actually happens at CitizenCon, what you'd be looking at if you're attending versus what you're looking at if you're just watching it from home, and some other things as well. But before we get started, I do want to start with Griffin. Griffin, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
I'm Griffin Gaming, RPG. I'm a part of the SolCitizens. We've been around for a few years now. I think this is our third year now, Fastcart. I think we're in our third year.
Yeah, third year, or 3.5 years, yeah.
Yeah, 3.5 years. Been a part of the Star Citizen community since 2013. And yeah, that's it. You can see me on SolCitizens on, when are we there? It's Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Then I drop in on Saturdays where I do a one-on-one conversation, which was just before this show for Soul Voices. And I occasionally stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays midday. And just been doing that for the last couple months recently. So yeah, you can find me at SolCitizens, or you can find me at Griffin Gaming RPG, either one on Twitch and either one in social media.
Sweet.
Don't forget the CitizenCon booth that you guys have.
Yes.
Yep. Well, I was gonna probably talk about it at the end of the show.
Let's talk about it towards the end and the kind of stuff. But there is a booth for Soul Citizens. If you look at the Pocket Guide, it actually talks about all of those things too. So, and I'll plug JRDF because I always do. So it's a good thing to do. I technically am under contract with them, but they don't pay me anything. So the way it works. So. All right. Next is Stim Citizen. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
Hey everybody, I'm Stim Citizen. I'm one of the hosts of the Yacht Club BC, which stands for Bar Citizen, the BC part. So we are the official Bar Citizen channel. We do a podcast, a show just like this on Twitch every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. So it's quite a late start. It's every Wednesday night. It's a couple of hours. We hang out. We talk about what's happening in the verse. But most importantly, we have a lot of great guests on the show, and we go through and we have a more sort of relaxed, down-tempo chat about what's going on in Star Citizen, about even community-based projects, different fundings that are going on, and we talk about pop culture and hang out and have a great time. So it really is a great time. Why people come and hang out with us is to meet new content creators, get exposed to different creators, get their weekly dose of what's going on with Star Citizen. And then also just to find their tribe and kind of who they belong with, whether they're in pirating or trading or what have you. Our Discord and our organization is just a great way of getting to know kind of who you are in the verse, who you want to hang out with in the verse, and then also get connected to what's happening within the Bar Citizen community. So what's happening in your neck of the woods? Is there a Bar Citizen? Is there an event that's upcoming? And if there isn't, why don't you consider starting one and getting a bunch of people to come together and really just share in this amazing project that we have? We're fully open about inclusivity and diversity. We're really about getting together and having a great time. And on the challenge coins that we had in our first year, we had what the statement was: guns down, drinks up. And the whole idea is at the end of whatever you're doing in that flying day, you pull up to the yacht club, which is at the very end, you put your gun in the drawer, you check that in, you come in and you have beers and drinks and hang out with everybody else. That's what we're all about. As far as me personally, I'm on on X or Twitter, as we call it, as Stim_Citizen.
It's Twitter. I refuse to call it X. I refuse to call it X.
I'm the same.
Awesome. And then otherwise, just on the Yacht Club. It's great to meet people. And hey, if you're going to be at CitizenCon, just to play off of what Paul was saying about, introduce yourself. If you're wearing a jersey, whether it's a Soul Citizens jersey, a Yacht Club jersey, any kind of way to kind of point yourself out, especially if you go out to the Bar Citizens that are happening afterwards, and you end up going to the LA Live area, which was where the Bar Citizens are going to be. That helps us find each other, and go ahead and introduce yourself, say hi, and some easy questions are, what's your favorite ship? What got you into Star Citizen, and what do you want to get the most out of Star Citizen? So
awesome. Yeah.
Nice.
Fast Cart. Mr. FC, Mr. Black
thank
Jurassic, the official ambassador to Star Citizen. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen? Where can they find you?
Thank you for that, Paul. Thank you for leaving me laugh, because I'm always going to say something. So yes, I am Fastcard, Ultimate FC. You can just type FC for short in Discord and chat and whatever, because Fastcard is a handful to type. So yeah, FC is fine. Yes, but I am another member of Soul Citizens. I host Soul Talk on Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. UTC. We talk Star Citizen with members of the community. People can come into Discord and have a conversation about what's going on in Star Citizen that week. We normally cover Star Citizen Live, and we cover ISC inside Star Citizen and whatever else is happening that week. But yes, and also Star Citizen on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, midnight UTC. But you should definitely expect some Ruth X McKenna during today's show, because we got not one, but two magical black men on the show today. So
God. You had to bring it up. You just had to bring it up. Does this correspond with with Isekai? Can we get them combined together so we have Reborn in Another World?
Ooh, the man who fell to earth. That's up. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Well, with that all out of the way, we're going to talk a little bit about CitizenCon. I will start off with a very basic gist. If you just discovered this as your first introduction to Star Citizen, first off, how? Please tell me in the comments how that was the case. I have no idea how you found me like this. But second of all, if you are newer to Star Citizen, you want to know what is CitizenCon, the basic gist of what it is it's a convention that celebrates the birthday of Star Citizen. It's been held in some way, shape, or form since 2013. Around 2014 or 2015, it became a public event that people came to. Before, it was just like a dinner or a bar meet up that employees and fans would get together and hang out, which is sort of around the way where Bar Citizens sort of came up around that time period. So it's very similar to that kind of that vibe. And every year it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger in terms of scope. And then in 2019 was the last one. It was the biggest. Then they shut it all down because of COVID. And so it went all digital. And now recently they're coming back. And now it's not just 1, but 2 days. And it's at LA this year at the LA Convention Center. So with that all being said, let's talk a little bit about what we're excited about for CitizenCon. Fast Cart, starting with you, since you're the last one to introduce yourself. What are you excited about with Star Citizen?
I am excited to see all the faces and meeting new people that I've seen online for the past 4 years, but don't know the faces to. I'm excited to see the community get together and have another big gathering again. I'm excited to hang out and have dinner or lunch or just talk Star Citizen with members of the community. That's what I'm excited for.
Awesome. Stim, what are you excited about?
Fast Cart stole my excited thing.
You can say the same thing.
It's twofold. It's one about meeting new people in the community and getting a chance to talk about Star Citizen, but also just from having guests on the show and from putting faces to names. I want to see old friends that I haven't seen in a long time, that we've been talking about this amazing project together. So I like the fact that there's the creators corner where we can get together and chat, but I don't expect to be in the creators corner all the time. So I want to get out there and meet people and, get a chance to find out, especially with new backers that are coming in, if they're going to Citcon, people where it's their first time coming to the con, to find out their experiences. Because, we as content creators have been around for a long time. We've seen the verse kind of unfold over time, which has been really amazing. But I want to see what someone with fresh eyes is really looking at it and why they're getting into the game. So that'll be an interesting experience.
That is interesting.
And that is that's content creators corner that you mentioned. Not just the creators corner, the content creators corner, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Fun fact, that was an idea that was really championed by Morph, because the one he went to, I think it was in last one, 2019, there really wasn't. And that's the case. I think there's really not a place that CIG doesn't, as much as Reddit would have you believe, CIG doesn't cow down to creators very often.
No, they don't.
In fact, it took them years. It took years, and all of us getting together and collectively shouting at CIG to have them even email us about stuff that's going on. So there was, as a result, Morph really kind of pushed CIG to try to have a corner that, us content creators could go and talk with other CIG members or talk with each other, a place to kind of make content rather than just for everywhere else. And I don't think it's going to be locked off to anyone specifically or anything like that, but it's designed to be like, there's a big area over lounging. This is more of like a kind of an area where you can just chill for a bit and set up camera equipment and stuff, because that's going to be, for those of you who have never done those or seen those things can be kind of bulky and it takes a lot of space and sort of things like that. So, all right. And Griffin, what are you looking forward to with CitizenCon?
Yeah, it's like three's a charm. Same thing. When you first go, obviously you don't, first of all, you don't know what to expect. And secondly, you are kind of drawn to the whole idea of learning more about the game and the development. But the reality is once you go, we've said this kind of like how with making movies, people say that audio is 50% of the experience. And I really believe that the community is 50% of the experience, or if not more. It's, in fact, getting to meet people for the first time, seeing people that you've seen previously, people that you just connect with. And there's just a different sense of when you're there, you're just surrounded by people who are, regardless of how they feel about the game, they've made the effort to show up. I was amazed the first time I went and I talked with, it was 2016, and people are saying, I came from Australia, I came from Germany. The fact that people make that type of sacrifice. First of all, I thought it was completely ludicrous to go to a convention for a game that wasn't even out. That was amazing in and of itself. And the fact that people were, I would go to gaming conventions and other stuff, but the stuff's out there and you're playing it. But this wasn't even, they were talking about Squadron, but we didn't have Squadron in our hand, but people sacrificed to go. But once you've gone, I can tell you that CitizenCon is an experience. That's the best way I can describe it. I had no regrets. Even in 2016, I had no regrets when I came home. I went to VerseCon the next year. I went to VerseCon the year after that. I went back to Austin the year after that. And I've been dying since 2019 to want to be back at a CitizenCon. So I'm looking forward to being there.
Yeah.
And can I mention that Griffin mentioned it's ludicrous that they do it for a game that's not even out yet. They've been doing it since 2013 also. So This is not just a recent thing. This has a long storied history. So yeah.
It does also have a long storied history of Chris treating this more like a BlizzCon when the game isn't out yet. There was, I think it was 2018.
I mean, who wants to pay $20 for a streaming ticket, right? Right, Paul?
Not only just the $20 for a streaming ticket, but $20 for a streaming ticket when the stream's going to break. I bring it up because, and I brought this up a couple times. I don't know if we brought it up on Captain's Tables before recently, but they're kind of to give some context. Ins and outs. CitizenCon has had its ups and downs. It's had some weird ones. The first one that Griff, myself, and Fastcart, and I think Stim, we all went to that one in 2016. I'm going to bring up some trauma, so I apologize ahead of time. But do you remember the hour they did on just Spectrum?
Yep.
Oh my God, I had forgotten. Thank you for that, Paul.
Yep, I wanted to bring that back. I have these memories stored in the back of my head with all my useless lore information.
I loved it.
Del,
So no, I don't
Delanon
remember.
said, "Why, Paul?"
That was the main thing they did was just Spectrum. And then the other one was for 2016 was, of course, the infamous Sandworm, which got Darge to stand up in the middle of the stream, in the middle of everything, and scream very loud that everyone got him. And saying, "Ride the worm, Radim!" And he was sitting right next to me when that happened.
Yeah.
It was me and Fastcart were sitting there together when that happened. I think Griffin was there too. It was all of us
He
were
was
sitting
behind
there.
me. I didn't see it. He was behind me.
Yeah. That never get captured. But the like that whole experience is, I wouldn't say a low for CitizenCon, because this is like the second ever that they've ever done. So it was them learning how to do it. But it went from that to 2018. They had actors walking around the floor of the con dressed in UEE uniforms and in like appropriate clothing, with doing trivia contests and talking to people. They had a recruitment booth for the UEE Navy there with people in uniform.
They gave away goodies. Like if you went to the Drake area, the people were dressed in Drake with Drake logos. And they were in character. They talked like they worked for Drake, and they had some type of something to give you. It might have been a USB drive or a squeezy ball or something. Each manufacturer. In fact, I've got some of that stuff over here.
Yeah, I did too. That's why I was looking for mine.
I'm you getting yours. Good, because I was going to go pull mine. But yeah, they went all out. They went all out in 2018 with the whole immersion aspect. Everything from the Yellow Jacket on down. Remember, guys? It was just a whole lot of stuff that was there. Yeah.
I can't find my squeezy balls, but yeah, they had like a Aegis squeezy ball, and they had like a Drake fidget spinner. Or no, it was a Solid Outlands fidget spinner, stuff like that.
And it was all about Drake, and that was the first time they had the Drake Dragonfly, the life-size one there, and of course that's when the Kraken came out.
Yeah,
2018 as well.
That was the JRDF Kraken that they made. Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree. 2018 was a much improved experience compared to 2016. And 2016 was my first time in LA, first time in California, first time going to CitizenCon. So I mean, 2016 compared to 2018, I don't want to say night and day, but pretty close.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think it was night and day, because and correct me, Fastcart's usually the numbers guy, so correct me if I'm wrong, and I know Paul, you are too. Yeah, the Big Benny's box. I've got mine over here too.
I got mine in bedroom.
So in 2016, when we were in LA, I remember I think the capacity at the Avalon, we had about 800 people there. When we went 2 years later in 2018, there were almost 1,800 people there.
1750 is what they told me.
Yeah, each year it's gone up. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, though, when they were in 2019, they were only at 1,400 people. I think it was a little bit. Was it 1,250?
1,250.
So, but again, it's been exponentially growing. So, this year we know that I think the accommodation on the room that they have holds something like a little over 5,000. So they're expecting a good number of folks to be able to attend this thing. And unlike previous years where ticket sales either ran out or got cut off, ticket sales are probably running all the way till walking up the door this time around. So it's going to be interesting.
I think they still have tickets available, but
I
think they have space for like 8.
Yeah.
What's your guess, guys? Do you think 3,000?
It's more than 3,000. I can tell you that.
They doubled. They said that it was double the amount they last had, which was
that was the first week. That was the first week after the tickets went on sale. He said they had doubled the number from 2019.
So that's 3-4 months. I can't imagine.
Yeah. They'll tell us there how many tickets they sold. I don't remember. Not everyone who has a ticket is going to be going, so that's going to happen every so often. So, but they also had they had a noodle truck that came up, and they were serving noodles out of these Big Benny's. Right.
Yeah, and I had to make sure that I asked for a normal carton and a clean box, because some people were getting inside the Big Benny box. I didn't want to take that home with me. I asked for a clean box. So
And that's the Big Benny's box from 2018. Because in 2019, I was a volunteer, and we had to put stickers on instead. Mm-hmm. And we went through, and I remember putting stickers on for hours and folding boxes for hours.
Yeah, but that's because the year before in 2018, they talked about how long it took them to put those boxes together. It was no joke, evidently, for them to do it.
They were doing it till 1 o'clock in the morning before the day before. So,
Yeah, I mean, they went into the whole immersion thing. The other thing that got introduced that year, Paul, if you remember, in 2018 was that was their first test of the community area.
Yep.
Remember they just had like, I think it was Sigelian.
It was a VIP area.
Atlas Defense. No, not the VIP room.
Oh,
I'm
it
talking
was-
about on that second level.
Yeah, yeah.
Test was up there. Atlas Defense was up there. Atmo Esports, Sigelian, and one other somebody. That was the first time that they
yeah.
set up an area for folks to be able to come and
were
wander.
only
And then
four.
then in 2019, it expanded until the full marketplace when they did it
Yeah.
over in the UK. Was it four?
And
There's only
it
four.
four?
Yeah, it was,
Was it four?
Atmo,
Okay.
Altama, Test, and what was the other?
Atlas.
And Atlas.
Atlas
Okay.
Defense. Yeah.
in 2018, was that the first year they had the land set up in the basement somewhere?
That's right.
To
That's right.
To
That was-
play.
that was
Was that
amazing.
the first year?
Yeah,
Yeah.
since
That was that was the introduction of Theater of the War, right?
That's right. Exactly.
No, that
Yep.
was 2019.
Yes, yeah, that was no 2018. That was it. That was the reveal. Oh no,
Well,
you're right.
no.
It was 2019. You're
Yeah.
right.
2018 was,
in
They did
Manchester.
the face. They did the face stuff in 2018 where people could go get
Okay.
their faces
That's
done.
right.
Right, Paul? Remember Meyer?
maybe.
Maybe some people went
no,
and got
that
their
was
faces.
that was
input in.
2017.
Was that 17? Okay.
No, that was 2018. That was 2018 for sure.
all our
because I
years
was there.
mixed up.
It was Faceware Technologies.
All right, yeah. I remember that. Well, the thing was that the 2018. I remember because I went down there. It was they completely redid how flight mechanics were working, and so you could test out the flight mechanics in an arena commander mode that they had working. It was the first experimental mode, but yeah. So the idea is that this it's been growing year to year. So
Yeah.
this is likely going to be the biggest one they do. And if you've been to a convention before, very similar to most conventions. You're going to have booths, which are going to be run by community members. They'll be selling merch. They're also, some of the booths will be selling stuff. I know JRDF is going to be selling stuff. You might get free stuff. You might have little events that the different booths will go on. There's going to be panels, which are going to be the big stage where they're going to be doing that for the entire day. So there'll be activities for you to do while you're there. The one thing I will tell people, and for my expectations, is just in general, is like, if you're going to go to CitizenCon, go there to see people and hang out with them. Do not go there for exclusive information, because if you go there for exclusive information, you're going to be very disappointed, because everyone who's at home watching it on stream will also have that information. So,
Although there are behind the scenes conversations that you have, and when you're out at the Bar Citizen and the CIG staff there and stuff. So there is some kind of information you get, but a lot of the time that stuff is going to be reported. So case in point, in 2018, the 890 Jump Club kind of cornered John Crew and said, "Hey, tell us about the 890 Jump," before it came out, and really asked a ton of questions. And that was put out, by content creators on exactly what was happening coming ahead, almost like an early preview of a Q&A for the ship. So that kind of stuff does happen.
it does. And I've managed to sit down with some of the people who are in charge of server meshing, and they talked to me.
Nice.
And I couldn't understand a word they were saying, but they were very, very adamant about it. And I was like, this is very cool. And while I wasn't able to speak to Benoit there, I have been able to speak to Benoit at a GDC that he was going to. And I will say that my experience is that CIG employees, most of them are Star Citizen fans. A lot of them were members of the community beforehand and then decided to join the game because they were developers who just happened to also enjoy Star Citizen and decided, why not? CIG's hiring, I'm going to go join them. So they're as geeky and nerdy as you are. They have similar interests. And a lot of times they're very interested in talking to you, because some of them have been veterans for so long in the gaming industry that they've never actually talked to anyone who played their games. A great example I had is Jay Lee. I've seen Jay Lee many times. I hope Jay Lee shows up. I know he's not working for CIG anymore, but I hope he shows up. Jay Lee did a lot of the early artwork for the armor that would eventually be put into the game. And the year 2018, Diablos was there, and he was wearing a full armor set, the full heavy armor set, which was from Castak, I think, which was, he had the whole thing completely custom made, and he walked up to Jay Lee, and Jay Lee just basically said, I drew that. that exists now. That's just something I drew. It was in my brain, and now it's standing in front of me. I don't understand this. This is confusing. So,
this year, I'm going to try to get a few moments with Tony and Z, because hopefully he can read my IQ just by osmosis, just by being in his presence. But we shall see.
You just steal his IQ. But
share. I don't want to steal. Just share. That's what it is. Yeah.
But that's another thing. Is like there's lots of cool cosplayers and stuff like that. So they're as interested in talking with people as you are interested in talking with them, as long as you treat them like a normal human being.
Yeah.
And they love drinks. Many of them love drinks. Not all of them drink, but those who do, they love drinks. So
I do not drink. So people who come up to me and say, "I want to buy you a drink," it'll be some kind of soda or orange juice or something like that. But thank you, appreciate it.
But that being said, let's talk a little bit about our expectations for CitizenCon. Now that we've kind of talked about what we're looking forward to at CitizenCon, let's talk about expectations. I'd like you to give me, at least for this first round, just give me what your low bar expectations of reveals at CitizenCon. Like what, at the very bare minimum, maybe even like kind of a pessimistic view of what you think we're going to see at CitizenCon. Griffin, what do you think?
Paul, can I skip you? I've got an emergency phone call I'm taking right now, and I'll come back.
Sure. Stim, what do you think?
I think from having a chance to review the schedule that they have, having a chance to see what other content creators are putting out there in terms of their expectations and my own expectations, the pessimistic standpoint would be that one of the things I think they are going to do well is they're going to find a nice balance between what used to be, kind of pie in the sky, dreaming about what Star Citizen is going to happen, and that kind of stuff not coming for a long time and making promises it will. To the last one we had in Manchester, I'm talking about the physical in-person ones, where it was really like far too detailed in terms of the panels. Like Tony Z, amazing, not judging that in any way, shape, or form, but going into exactly how material folds over items and stuff like that, so really getting down into the weeds. I think it's going to be a nice balance between those. But from a pessimistic standpoint, if it doesn't match any of the expectations we want, if we don't get an update on, server meshing, or we don't get any kind of update on Squadron 42 or anything like that, if they just focus on that balance and we don't get an update on those things that are the big points that a lot of people are conjecting we could get reveals. Like people are saying, and I don't think this is going to happen. And if you have expectations for this to happen, you are just setting yourself up for failure. If you think that we're going to get a release date for Squadron 42, we might, but I wouldn't go in there expecting it, right? And if you go, maybe beta or something, like, I don't know. And if you try and say, like you expect them to launch, like 4.0 the same day and get pyro and stuff like that, you're going to be setting yourself up for failure. So I don't know how to say, pessimistically what the minimum would be, because I think it's going to be different. I was a little bit worried. I guess I'll say a little bit more in that I was a little bit worried that they took it and they put it into a 2-day format purely to make it so that people could see every panel. I was a little bit worried about that to begin with. I thought, would it be interesting enough for a full 2 days? Mm-hmm. And I think they've done a good job with the panels. I think the panels are actually going to be really good, but I think the pessimistic view, I think what it really is if you go in with high expectations, you're not gonna have a good time. Go in with less expectations and to be entertained on what is. It's kind of like a giant Inside Star Citizen. Mm-hmm. That's what I see. It's like an in-person Inside Star Citizen that's interactive, and that's how I see this. That's what it's going to be. So set your expectations.
Fast card. Lowest bar expectations for CitizenCon.
See, I had to change my answer, so I was thinking about one answer, then I changed in the middle. So I'm going to say the Asus ROG, they're one of the sponsors this year. So my pessimistic expectation is that we're going to have to buy a 4090 to get a new ship.
Maybe. You never know. Asus is there.
a suit, and it'll be RGB, blanky.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, for I think there will be a collab. It'll be a new ship. For history, people who might know that I go through the history. AMD had one collab with CIG or Star Citizen, and that came out with the Mustang Omega. AMD had their own name brand in the game. It's not advanced micro devices in game. It has a different name, but it's basically
Accelerated Mass Designs, I think is what it's called. It's a racing company.
So yeah, so that was, when is that? 2013, 2014, one of those years, right?
It was 2014, I think.
2014, yeah.
2014, okay. And then in 2017?
It was 2018.
Okay.
Oh, it might have been 2017. No, it was 2017 because they had the Raven at Citcon. Yeah, and that was 2017.
Yeah, it's definitely an odd number because it was not in America. So 2017 they had Intel, and that became, if you bought an Optane drive, you would get a free. They give you a code to redeem to get a free Saber Raven. And you know, for AMD, you buy a graphics card, you get a free code to get a Mustang Omega. So I'm expecting something similar this year with the shoes. I don't know what you have to buy. I'm hoping it's not a 4090. I hope it's something more reasonable, like maybe a 4050 or 4060, something more reasonable. But you know, you get one of those, and you get a code to get the ship of that collaboration.
Okay. So
it could be anything though. It could be a motherboard. It doesn't have to be a video card.
That's true.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a video card. You're right. Could be. Yeah, you're right.
Stick of solid state.
Could be. I don't know. Does Asus make SSDs?
Oh yeah, they made the first one that failed on me.
That's not a good impression, but you know, thank you.
Don't just can say it. We're not expecting a sponsorship from Asus with the Yacht Club.
No.
It had this beautiful copper heatsink. Like there's more copper in this thing. Like the cost of the whole thing was really the copper, not the actual silicon.
Oof. All right. I will say my low bar expectations are similar to Stim. I think what we're going to get is what they say on the tin. That's the low bar expectations, is what they say at there. We're going to get information on back-end stuff. We're going to get some more updates on Pyro. Yes, Pyro 4 years in a row. We're going to get a... let me look at the panels real quickly because I think it's... let's see... Jumptown... Wait, Jumptown's going on again?
What's up?
I'm trying to find the link for CitizenCon stuff.
I got it. My bad. Yeah, just ask me. I got it. I got the pocket thing right here.
Go ahead and put it in the chat if you can.
Yeah. There you go.
Pull it up. All right. So the panels are pretty self-explanatory. Star engine, resource management. There's talking ships. So ships, UI, character customization, the new character customizer, AI behavior, the flight mechanics, new flight mechanics, some lore stuff, and then new interaction system. And that's it. I think that's my lower is, it's like what you see is what you get in terms of the panels. You're going to get nothing else but that. No mention of Nix, no mention of Squadron 42, no mention of 4.0, no update on server meshing. What you see on the panels is what you get. They'll wrap it up by saying, thank you for coming. We had a good time. Goodbye. That's it. That's my pessimistic, and I think that's probably the best way of looking at it, especially if you're watching it or going into it. That's it. If that pisses you off, then don't watch Star Citizen Con, because that could 100% happen. I'm not saying it will happen, but it could 100% still be like that. So, now, Griff, are you good to go? Okay.
Yeah,
so what is your low bar expectation?
I thought I would enhance what you're saying. So here's one of the expectations you could probably get is going to be your goodie bag. Okay?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Your goodie bag. So just so you guys will know, some of the things, Paul, I know you were trying to reference what we got. We got this nice big color thing for when the Kraken was coming out. I'm trying to get the reflection off of it. So you get a nice big color brochure, which is kind of cool. You'll get a sticker for CitizenCon that you can put on your little notebook for school. You get your ID, your official ID with maybe a lanyard, Paul, maybe a lanyard.
Yeah.
This was 2948.
Yeah, I've got mine.
Yeah.
This is my official UEE flashlight that you get. You get one of these. And you know what, Stim, I completely forgot about this. They gave us a challenge coin,
That's
real nice CitizenCon challenge coin that you get. Get a dog tag medal, real official dog tag from CitizenCon.
I didn't get that. Did
You didn't get that?
No, did you get that one? Maybe speaking to one of the
I'm
actor officers?
probably talking to somebody. Yeah, because it's got the Star Citizen logo on the back. It's not handmade. It's
I
from
even have
them.
the little.
Nice.
Yeah, there you
little
go.
thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh.
And then you get like this was Drake. Drake gives you the little. You got wonder what this is. It's that little fan thing. You know, you do
It's
that
a fan.
little fins come out and you blow on yourself. You get so if it's hot in LA, you can use that. If you're stressed out about what they're going to do at the convention, you get the little squeezy ball so you can minimize your stress about the panels. And then they gave us a bunch of pins. They gave us a pin of a Drake Cutlass, a pin of some other shit. I got about 4 or 5 of these pins. Now, here's the thing I will tell you to brace yourself for. They will do these. Some of the other vendors at the booths will give you stuff like this. Like this is actually Sigelian. You know, Sigelian goes all out, man. Sigelian freaking color brochure, high quality stuff.
Oh yeah.
But the other thing they do is stuff like
You should
this,
see his
guys.
booth panel this year. It looks amazing.
Now this happens. This caught me off guard. They will do stuff like this. This was a brochure. I don't know if you can read it because I'm so close. You got 50% off if you bought the Buccaneer with this.
Yep.
So they do some like incentives if you're there for stuff that you can do. There was
Are you sure
spaceware
it wasn't
stuff.
5% off? All the ones that I got were like 5, 10, maybe like
Oh, I'm
15.
sorry. I'm reading wrong. You're right. 55% off. So 5%. You're right, Stim. God forbid I give out bad advertising. 5% off. Yeah, 50% would really
you should
be
have been there
bad.
that year.
Yeah, for real. You missed it. They give us other promotional stuff about Squadron 42, Aegis. These were all from the different things. Here's now, Asus is there this year. This year it was Corsair. Corsair had a thing. If you use this code, you got a discount of 15% off on anything you bought from Corsair. So there are some cool things. There's another 5% there for you, Stim. So I wanted to kind of show people that that's kind of the goodie bag that you get from them.
And also in 2018, they had not one but two. The normal access people had their goodie bag, and then the VIP people had their goodie bag.
Yeah, and I think the only difference was that one bag was black and the other bag was blue. I mean, it was white. That was it. So as far as expectations go, you know, you can expect to have fun. That's my attitude. Go and enjoy yourself. You really will have a good time just going to the event and hanging out. Lowest expectation is what you said, Paul, what they've told us. Now, CIG did say something at I think it was the Shanghai Bar Citizen. Chris and them did say that this, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, that the subject matter about this was going to be, was it Squadron 42 and 4.0 or 4.0 and Pyro? There was something that they gave it as the theme for this time around. I know Pyro was one of those themes. I don't remember if it was Squadron or 4.0, but I do know Pyro is one of those themes. So whatever they're doing, they're working it around those as their themes to go along with what Paul was saying about the schedule. That's all I'm going to say about my minimals there.
Okay. So now I'm going to ask for your average, bang on what you actually expect at CitizenCon, even if it's like not just minimal, but like what you would be happy with Star Citizen.
What I'd be happy with.
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead, Griff.
I've got several items that it could be any of these, and as long as they give us several of these, I'll be happy. Not one. I need a couple of these. 4.0. I don't mean giving us 4.0, but I mean the real. No more theory stuff. You know what I mean? I wanted the tangibles like 4.0 first quarter 2024 or something. I don't know. Pyro, the same thing. We've seen demonstrations of Pyro. We saw them fly to Pyro last year with the 400i. Blah 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 blah. I'm ready to hear Pyro's going to come out, blah, 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 when it's going to come out. Static server meshing. Even though they've told us they don't need to have server meshing in order to get Pyro in, I would love to. I know they've been working on static server meshing. Once they get this whole thing with the replication layer and they got the persistence locked down, that's the last thing. If they can get that going, that'll be great. Server caps. server numbers going up, 250 to 500 people playing in the game would make me very happy. Anything about quantum? We haven't heard from Tony Z. Everybody's saying, where's Tony Z? Well, he's working. That's where he's at. And hopefully he's going to come and make a presentation. I don't want to see no more videos. I want him to say, here's quantum, it's ready, and we're getting ready to put it into the game. And then I got some why questions when you talk about the next expectation, and I'll just throw this out, but we could talk about it later. Why did they put the 3 new jump point stations in and launch the F8? We can save that for later, because that's going to be the greater expectation for me. But they could have saved all that for CitizenCon. I got a real question bugging in my head about why did they opt to do that other than hype, because hype can bite you in the butt. It's got to be something more tangible to me. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay. All right. My basic expectations. We're going to go reverse back, and then we'll do. We'll start with Fast Card. Have his last. Have the last hype train. My basic expectations is everything he says on the tin, and I think at the very end of that exit presentation, that Chris will show off a new trailer for Squadron. We'll make a generic date, like a fall 2024 announcement. I don't think it'll be accurate, but I do think they'll make the announcement because they're going to want to start up their marketing campaign because they're close enough to get that started. I think that's really what it's going to be about. And this is kind of on the edge of what I hope, of what I'm thinking about, but like this is kind of dipping into that hopium a little bit, which is a gameplay trailer for Squadron, because we really haven't had a gameplay trailer for Squadron. We've had a vertical slice, which is an hour long. We've had a cinematic trailer. We've had some like ambient trailers, but we've never seen like gameplay trailer cut into a gameplay so you can see what gameplay looks like and how it plays and that kind of stuff. Which by now they should at least have some of that done because of all of the stuff that they've showed off in the past. So just generally that. That would be what I hope for. Anything else would be cream of the crop. That is my bang on hope. And also obviously Squadron 42 coming back with like probably multiple versions, like a $60 version, a $90 version, and a $150 version with a little statue or some crazy shit like that. So, Fast Cart. What are your expectations? Your moderate expectations?
Hold on, I gotta make a note for myself for optimistic. Okay, good. So level-headed. They have a couple of panels. One is called Talking Ships. People had been in the community guessing wildly about how many ships it's going to be released. I heard as few as 3 and as many as 10. So I think that'll be pretty good for talking ships. That's my level-headed expectation. Also, I'm looking forward to character creation. This is borderline optimistic and level-headed, but I'm expecting them to blow my socks off with the update to the character creator, because the last time we had it was in 2018 for gene splicing. Mm-hmm. I believe that's the last one, but yeah, I'm looking for something similar to that, where it's updated. So that's my level-headed expectation: talking ships and character creation.
Okay, Stim, your level-headed kind of bang on expectations.
Okay, I'll try and be level-headed. My name is Stim, right? So I try.
Yeah,
gotta hold back here. Gotta hold back. I'm hoping that we're super impressed by what they show us, and it would be too long of an answer to go through each thing that I'd like to see within each panel. Mm-hmm. But things like, for example, with the character creator, Fastcraft that you were talking about, is things like being able to actually have a nicely clean shaven bald head would be a nice option. But looking for more things like, gender
Are you not
parity.
feeling represented there still? Welcome to the club, buddy. Welcome to the club. I need a natural. Welcome to the club.
You joke, but like
some natural gray hair as well. Like that would be nice.
So you joke, but like CIG, if you want free advertising, just hire somebody who can do African style hair for like just for 3 or 4 hairstyles, and you're the entirety of Black Twitter will be talking about you for months.
They already have,
you know,
they already have
teased
them.
us. They did this when they did Tesla, Twitch.
Yeah, exactly.
They
Beat me to
teased us.
it.
They had a whole bunch of them when they did the Twitch thing, and they all were gorgeous. And we've been sitting there wondering where the heck are they?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Well, my point is like so many people like it's one of those things that a lot of people don't know. It's like dogs petting in petting dogs in game. There are certain things you put in your game will get you to be talked about forever because they're so like barren in the rest of the gaming universe. That's one of them is hairstyles that are not just European hairstyles. Anything else other than European hairstyles, and you will get talked about. Stim, sorry, I don't want to take
no
over.
worries, no worries at all. You know, and things like I mentioned, sort of like the gender sort of parody. You know, things like long hair and Twitch Pachico's hair that she's been wearing this faux thing to cover up.
Yeah.
Purely because they can't do like hairstyles really, really well. So just a way that we can actually get decent hair. How they handle that, if it's dealt well with, helmets and how that all works and stuff. So that's getting way into the weeds. But if we can get really impressed by what they show us, that'll be great. Like if I'm sitting there gobsmacked the whole time, I will be super happy. I also really want to hear, and this is a relief thing, is that server meshing actually is possible to the point where we end up having one shard or regional servers. Okay. And yeah, right. So, it is questionable. Okay. So I want to see that they have a good roadmap, and I'd love to hear, that it's close or that where it's coming soon because, or at least something that's going to allow to give us pyro, give us some of that content that we've been needing, because lately we've been swapping out things in order to make it happen, whether it was losing, now you can't say losing Port Olisar, but we got rid of Port Olisar and put in Seraphim Station. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Right.
Seraphim.
So we've been swapping a few things to put other things in, and persistent entity streaming has also come at a cost. Yes, we've gone to 100 players, but I want to see what's next, and I think that's all going to happen in the closing ceremony. And so in the closing ceremony, being optimistic. But I don't know if it's being realistic. This is the thing, right? This is that whole thing about setting your expectations. Is I would love to hear about Squadron 42 from maybe a beta release date. That's kind of where I think that would be nice, because we heard back, what was it, 2016, that it was feature locked, right? And we might not get it this year, So I'd like for it to be it this year. That the first chapter of Squadron 42, we have a beta release date, because there's so many things that are in the panels that we're going to start seeing that we've been expecting to come, especially all like the FPS, the radar and scanning for FPS, that's supposed to make it into the PU. And we've been waiting for this. And so we kind of need Squadron 42 to get to a place where we can start dovetailing those things back into
Star Citizen.
Yeah, exactly. Like into the PU and things like, hover mode and all of that. Like there's so many things in that regard. And lastly, I'd like to hear that Pyro's around the corner. I would. I don't think they're going to, at the end say, oh, and by the way, we're dropping Pyro now. I don't think that's going to happen, but
if you don't mind me asking, Stim, what's around the corner for you? Because a lot of people will say they've been saying it's around the corner for 3 years. So for you, what would be like a reasonable timeline?
Super fair question. And again, the thing is they don't want to give us times, but that kind of is
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. For you.
I would say like Q4 release or Q1. Because the thing is, not like once the Q4 patch comes out, nothing happens till June.
Yeah.
The next year. So are
you saying Q4 this year or Q4 next year?
Well, Q4 this year.
Oh, okay.
Or if it's not Q4 this year,
then Q1.
No, if it's not Q4 this year, then we're not getting it until Q2, Q3 next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
That unless they're just putting on the last spit and polish,
right?
And they don't want to rush it this year. But I'd like to see it this year. I don't know. It's
gotcha.
Okay.
It's been a long time.
Getting from there to here.
Again, how realistic, right? How realistic is that?
True.
So I don't know. So
That's actually a good introduction for this project. The Wright brothers all the way.
Yeah.
That actually is a good song to sing for this project. Jesus.
It's been a long time. It's instead of it being nice and beautiful though, it's a bunch of drunk old people being like, "It's been a long time."
Oh my god! It'll be like those two old Muppets
Yes.
up in the booth in the Muppet Show.
All right, so because we've been waiting a long time, and Stim, you went first, and then Griffin, and now Fast Cart. We'll do Fast Cart, then Stim, then Griffin, then myself.
Can I just add one more thing? I saw Jade Star Watcher says that she really wants to see the star map. Yeah.
Yes.
I definitely want to be blown away by the star map. I want to see it go, from universe wide to system wide to, all the way down to local, and then whether it's, it's a bunker, ship, or building, get all the way down in there. And then the scanning and nav points and stuff. Oh, bring it.
Fast Cart. Hype engines on full, just maximum. What are your absolute hype monster beliefs?
I'm going to try to be quickly because I do have a few, but I try to be quickly. On the map, you see you have your dragonfly. They're bringing it back, but on the map you have this in the upper left corner. It says staff only, mind your step, but it's a landing pad, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm expecting like maybe a ship or a vehicle. Like people have been guessing, maybe it'll be a MPUV or a something else small. Or like my guess it might be an Ursa rover or something like that. So something light side or 3/4 side like they had for the Dragonfly up in that left corner. The other few real quick are maybe some squad for the 2 stars showing up. That's hype engine full on, have an actor dress up as Jimmy so we can take pictures with him. I think that'd be
at least a cardboard cutout would be a great idea. A cardboard cutout of Jimmy would be good. Kind of like how you had.
This is LA. This is LA, and the strike is over. They can get a real actor.
Yeah, hire a mime, CIG. That'd be perfect.
And finally, real quick, back in before 2016, we were able to pre-order physical boxes for Squadron 42. This is like the selected box. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping my optimistic hype engine, and it will be a date for when they'll start shipping those out.
Okay, I agree with that to a degree, but we'll see. I have some insider information from a leak that was told to me, not by a CIG developer, so it's hard to point it down, but that would track if what I heard was true. So, Stim.
That was just a guess. That's not anything I heard. That's just something I want. Yeah.
Stim. Go for it.
Yes,
Hype.
sir.
Stim it up. Hype engine's full. What are you thinking? What are the hypest thing you can think about coming to Star Citizen? We've been depressing. We've been moderate. Now let's go crazy.
4.0 drops.
4.0 drops. Okay.
I don't think it's going to happen, but if I were to hype it, that's what I would say. 4.0 drops. Server meshing has been in the works for a long time. It's ready. It's good to go. They just need to flip a switch. Yeah, we'll have some bugs, like I get that, it's always buggy, but we're off to great races and it's working really well. So that's it. 4.0.
Okay. Griffin, hype engines to the full.
If you don't mind me asking, what is 4.0 to you?
Ooh, good question. Very, very good question. 4.0 to me is pyro. It's jump points, full traversal, back and forth. We have an economy that we can actually do trading. So now that we have the not the Banu mission, sorry, Fast Cart. Now that we have the LC in the verse, we can actually do a bunch of trading. Mm-hmm. It means bounty hunting. And the gameplay that the most basic gameplay that comes with low security system like pyro.
That's fair. I was just trying to get a general idea of what you would kind of throw into the 4.0 bubble. That's why, because you could have called those out separately. So I just wanted to make sure I knew where you were going.
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I think to everyone it's a little bit different. And I think by even saying, it's bounty hunting, that's throwing in a piece that isn't really necessary for a lot of people to say 4.0. I mean, maybe just getting the other system, Pyro, is 4.0. But to me, it includes server meshing, right? We've already got persistence to a certain degree. And there's a lot that still needs to come to flesh out a lot of different dynamics. And I'm not even talking about new gameplay loops, like new professions, like engineering. Like engineering doesn't need to be in there. We don't need to have time to kill, all of that. We do need a little bit of disabling, which we already have for bounty hunting. So I don't think it's that much of a stretch in terms of the technology to get through to my vision of 4.0, but it does depend upon a lot of the work that they've been working on recently to actually have hit fruition.
So. Fair enough. Thank you. And the reason why I asked is because 4.0 is at the top of my list, but I want to compare 4.0 to what happened with 3.0.
Okay.
Because this ties into one of the things I'd like to see. And you guys were at 2016, where Chris did do that whole, remember 3.0 to 4.0 thing, the roadmap, the long journey thing that they did. I would like to see where we go from 4.0, once what's going to be the next steps. I'm hoping that is much more better defined. There's many things. If you go back and look at that old 3.0 to 4.0 thing, there's a lot of stuff that they have accomplished that was in there, but there was so much that needed to still be done with tools and tech. Well, because a lot of that's in place now, I'm hoping that we can start hearing things like expectations of how soon systems will come out, things of that nature. So for me, the roadmap 4.0. 4.0 for me goes to what you said. There's one more thing I want to add in there, Stim, is on the tech side. I'm hoping that 4.0 for them is also that they've cleaned up all that old bad code that's been in there, because they've been saying for years they've been trying to transfer things over. Port Olisar was a step toward that, getting rid of all the old code, getting things up to snuff completely, moving to the building blocks. Hopefully when we're in 4.0, they have gotten rid of as much of that old crap that's been binding us and the bugs that come along with it. So I'm hoping that that's a part of 4.0. Definitely hoping that, like you said, server meshing, whether it's static is fine. I don't care about the dynamic just yet because that's a big jump, but static server meshing and quantum. Because to me, 4.0 is a leap in what we've been doing. Like you said, it's not just about features, but there's something significant that's making a turn in the development process, or achievements even in development process. So for me to see those things happen would be great. The other big dream is a little variation of what you guys said. Squadron 42, fourth quarter 2024. Just that much of a statement. I'm willing to compromise on a vertical slice or a demo because from business aspects with Gamescom. I don't know if it's better for us to see it or the industry to see it. I don't know what's going to be the better one to do that. I know the backers want to see it first, but it's also a business, and to debut it with a solid date next year, mid-year, to say it's coming out fourth quarter makes sense from a business standpoint to me. And then last but not least, and I'm gonna need Paul's help on this. It goes back to the question I asked you earlier, Paul, about why now for certain things. They could have just put Pyro's jump point station in, and we would have been ecstatic. But instead they chose to put in Terra and Magnus. Now, I didn't know very much about Magnus, but I did know about Terra. And the reality is that all three of those systems tie in together. Terra ties into all of them. Stanton, Pyro, they all tie together, right? So if you're going to create, to Stim's point, if the economic engine gets kicked in, the Tony Z side things, where we're doing hauling and stuff, my concern about Pyro is that when they only talked about Pyro, it was a bottleneck. It was a one-way thing, one way in each direction. But if they decide to implement, even if they do Pyro first as the test ground, but then drop Magnus and Terra, even though I'm not, that would freak me out, because that's where we're in the freak out conversation right now.
Yeah.
Because we've always talked about Nix. But if they did do that, they've created the perfect game loop area for us for economy. And it could add Nix too. But the fact that they put those, why did they do that now? They did not have to put those in. They are, if it's just about hype, that's going to be empty when CitizenCon is over with. Because they're just stations and they look pretty, but they've been putting so much energy in populating those stations, getting the bugs out, getting the stores stocked up and everything else. So I'm hoping, my big hopium, 8 pills of horse pill hopium is that at least Pyro. And I wish it was back in the old days. You guys were around when at the end of CitizenCon, they'd wait till the very last minute and tell you, by the way, such and such just dropped. You can load it now. We haven't had one of those in a long time. That would be freaking icing on the cake because they haven't done that in forever. Yeah. But if they did that, that would be so cool to me.
Oh, well, the last time we did it with the STV, right? But it's been a while.
Yeah, but I ain't the STV. I ain't talking about no STV. You know, I'm talking about.
They've done that before, where they dropped a major patch in the middle of Citcon. Chris has done that before.
Yeah.
So,
and they might drop 3.20.1.
Yeah,
like that's fully
that expected.
Could be. Quick question for you, Griff. What do you think about a beta? So I'm thinking for Squadron 42 that a beta could happen, Q1 next year.
Definitely next year. I don't know when, but definitely next year. Nope, guys, this is just us talking.
This
is our gray hairs and bald heads talking. We're just talking. But yes,
we're going to be laughing 3 years from now about the fact that we even thought it would come out within 3 years.
Well, see, the other thing too is when you read the monthly reports and stuff, and they were talking about certain teams were starting to move from certain areas into a beta, not beta game, but they're moving to that next level.
They said beta. They straight up said beta in the animation team. The animation team basically just threw at people's faces and said, "We're in beta stage now."
Yep. So the fact that they've starting to move to that, and there is that feeling of maybe that's it, and we do know that CIG has been making a big push to put the emphasis on getting Squadron 4. It's important that they get Squadron 42 out. Mm-hmm. And I've said this before in the past. When I got into this in 2013, I knew freaking Persistent Universe was going to be 10 years plus. But Squadron 42 has always had a date on it. They pushed out dates on Squadron all the time. 2-3 times they've done that. And I think they need to deliver at this point a good date for the people.
Yeah.
Yep. And Squadron 42 episode 1 versus episode 2 versus episode 3 could have, huge tech feature changes and steps between 1 and 2 and 2 and 3. Yeah. So, unless there's branches that can't be brought back together, there's no technical reason. I say this not knowing anything about the technology, that they can't, release it. That they can't release it before they have all the tech, for Squadron 42 for the Citizen Universe. We don't have to have all the game loops in order to release Squadron 42. So
Absolutely.
So the next one will be even better. And even from the standpoint of like the graphics engine will evolve, like the rendering, between each version, and it'll get better and better. And it has to evolve. Otherwise, the games of next year are completely going to dwarf Star Citizen. And I think that Star Citizen, even though it's designed in Star Engine, will be designed to evolve graphics wise.
They've always talked about that though, Stim, and they have been keeping up. That's the good thing. If you go in there and take a look at it now, you can see that they've done lighting passes, they've improved stuff, performance is up. And I think that that's part of what you're saying, the longevity of the company too, right? They've got to be able to keep up, obviously, but they've got their own style of art. You know what I mean? But I think that whole, to your point, realism that Chris is looking for, he's always going to be doing that. Yeah. It's always going to be a tweak. There'll never be a point where it's not like he's trying to do Unreal Engine, but it will be that it will always be the best that it can be with Star Engine. I think that's going to be an automatic.
There's a reason why they have the Frankfurt studio, and that's it.
And that's going to be in the day one panel and the shaping the verse panel.
Yes, the Star Engine panel. Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
So I will go over my absolute hype beast levels, because I don't think we're going to see a beta in the sense of a playable beta. I don't think CIG is ever going to do a playable beta Squad 42. It's too sensitive because they.
Do you think they'll have Evocati have access or some?
No.
There's got to be some group. You need to open it up a little bit to make sure you catch most of the bugs.
I don't think so. I think CIG is going to absolutely lock it down.
In-house only.
In-house only. I think at best you're going to have what Starfield did, where like a month before the game actually releases, they'll release it to content creators or to like reviewers and such like that.
So what you're saying is it's not going to be Baldur's Gate 3 in space.
No, I don't think so. I think it's much more like Starfield or like a traditional or like Cyberpunk, where you have people who have early access to it, but they're going to make sure it's completely, because Chris is absolutely paranoid about leaks of the game, which is funny because it's like, I know the entire game, Chris. I know all of the stories. I know everything. I know the plot twists and everything because it's been leaked 4 times. Like there's something to be said about like the the story being going forward. But like Baldur's Gate is still much more of an open world experience compared to Squadron 42.
Paul, what do you think about what people are saying in chat? Some of them are saying possibly at the least, at the most, maybe Chris would do a private company that would do the testing.
Probably, almost certainly, there's going to be private companies that do it. They'll hire people for it because this is my absolute highest hope, and this is going to sound crazy. Number one, everything I just said before, plus there's a playable demo of the first level of Squadron 42 at Citcon, and that's what that landing pad is. So it's the very first level you get to play. Knowing what I know about the first level, it's a perfect, like a nice little encapsulated experience and everything else like that. It ends in a nice little, nice.
So you're saying like Starfield did the little mining thing? You're saying that's what they're going to do for the same type of thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like a 30, 40 minute sort of thing. This is absolutely beyond hype. All right, this is not realistic in the slightest. This is me going crazy.
Paul, after a few drinks, go ahead.
Yeah, that they're going to announce that they're going to release Squadron 42 at a certain time, like I said before. But they're also going to announce that a year after its release, it's going to go to consoles, and that they've partnered with these companies for console release. Then they'll they'll have actors from the game there to sign autographs and stuff like that. I don't think we'll have Mark Hamill. I mean, even my wildest dream, I don't think we're going to see Mark Hamill and those folks. I think we'll see maybe
Gillian Anderson.
Gillian Anderson.
I think we'll see. I think we'll see like Jack Houston, who plays like the Cal Mason. I think we'll see the actress who was in Game of Thrones, who played Yara Greyjoy. I think she might. Those sorts of people would be people who show up who have the time for it. But again, this is absolutely not realistic. What I just said is my hype expectations in the sense of like my beyond my wildest dreams sort of situation.
Paul, when you're done, I have one more of it. Go ahead.
And of course, announcing a beta or some Evocati release of a 4.0 at the end of the year, like that they're going to do a closed or open PTU for people to test the last quarter for that's again not expecting any of that. Like that is most of that is absolute bonkers. So, but yeah. That's my thing. Go ahead, Cascard.
I think I can top you because I was thinking I wasn't dreaming big enough because you all started speaking. I'm like, okay, what is the absolute most bonkers thing I can think of? Chris Roberts says in the opening introduction, says, "Look on their seats. Everyone gets a code for a free graphics card or motherboard from ASUS."
Oh, that'd be great.
You get a free graphic card. You get a free video card. You get a free video card. Everybody gets a free video card.
I would love it.
That would be awesome.
It'd be crazy.
Hey, it is a Seuss.
Pay for your trip, if nothing else.
But yeah, I think that's overall. But let's get down to the differences, like the last one, because we've kind of gone for a while. But this, the way that it was structured was going to be a while, and there's three of us. Let's talk a little bit about like not necessarily expectations, but the differences between watching at home versus going there. And what would you like tell the people who are visiting? We've kind of already talked about the people who are visiting, like with the expectations. But if you're watching it from home, like what should people be doing if they want to watch CitizenCon from home? I'll start with you, Griffin, on this one.
What should they do? Get a lot of snacks.
Should people be should people take time off of work?
No. We need to talk about that, right? Because people may not know that CIG does put this out on YouTube afterward. If you're free that weekend and you want to watch it, it's always great to watch it with folks. One of the things that you guys will get to do this time, because Paul talked about this earlier, STEM did. In previous years, everything was on one day, and particularly the last couple of years when we were in person, or even when they did it online, you really went from one event to the next very quickly. There wasn't a lot of time in between. And I'm in Test Squadron. I've sat in there with them before. And, most of the time when the presentations are going, people are pretty respectful. If you're in Discord, people aren't talking and stuff. Sometimes people will mute. And then when there's a break, people break out of that and they may talk about what they just saw. So if you're in an org or with a group or you want some friends, it's great to watch it together. If you can go to a Bar Citizen, I know Stim will probably tell you this. If you can go to a Bar Citizen, it's great. People get together locally and hang out, and they watch it there and hang out and do it as well. If you want to take off work because you happen to work on a Saturday and Sunday and you just got the days available and you don't use them, you say, yeah,
or maybe time zone. You have to take off work because the time zone.
Time zone, because the real world, just you could do it. Feel free to do that. But I'm one of those people, I know some people like to do that to take off work if something comes out and stuff. I would just say, if you want to do it, that's fine. But remember, if it will be within hours, they'll start popping up the YouTube videos. And there'll be streamers streaming it, so you'll be able to go back and watch the streamers, even when CIG hasn't done their final mastered versions that come out. So you're going to be able to take in the information. And there's a lot of information over those 2 days, and a lot of information. We have to go back and rewatch them afterward because there's so much information.
Board Gamer will rip the live stream directly and then post it on his YouTube 5 seconds after it's done. And if it's not Board, it'll be one of the other 100 different channels that are thirsty for views and are trying to get that because that's the easiest content known to man. And CIG takes usually a couple of days to put it up. So but if you want to see it, you'll be able to see it the microsecond it's done on Twitch. You'll be able to find it somewhere. So. Stim, what would you suggest people who are watching this from home? What would you suggest they do?
So pretty much echoing what Griffin was saying there, I would say go to a Bar Citizen if you can. There is a website, barcitizen.sc. If you go there, there is a link for upcoming events that's happening.
I'll put it in.
So awesome. So you can go check that out. You can also, there's all kinds of Discord channels that you can go to and check out. That's also in the barcitizen.sc website. There's regional Discord channels, which you can go to find where the Bar Citizens are that are upcoming. So you can find a watch party that's happening in your area. And if there isn't something physical and you can't get out to a bar or a pub to hang out with people to watch it, then follow, your favorite streamer that's going to be covering it. We've got so many streamers that are going to be doing, multiple live streams of it. And then it's going to be discussed afterwards. So Yacht Club, the stream that the show that I'm connected to, we are taking a little three-week hiatus, and then after we're doing a big show and we come back. So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be doing coverage shows to talk about them. I know that Space Tomato is going to be covering the show live while he's there, so there's a ton of ways you can interact with it, whether you're following your favorite community. And I think that's kind of part of it, is find a streamer, a community. If you're already connected to it, I mean, I'm speaking to the people that already know what they're going to be doing. If you already have a community, you're going to be jumping in with them. You're going to be watching it. You're going to be getting commentary. And then if you miss one, I'm going to recommend go back and watch it after it's released, because you want to be in the know when people are discussing it afterwards. Most of these shows, when we talk about things afterwards, because there's so much going on, we may or may not be able to show that part of the actual panel before talking about the segment. So I would say go and watch what you can if you do miss it, so that you can communicate, understand what's going on during those post discussions, and then be able to have a voice about it and get excited about it. In this project, what other video game project and universe have you been connected to where you've had a voice to be able to make changes and to discuss, and B, kind of be a part of the growth of that project, something that you're going to enjoy, maybe in retirement years, or kind of as you go through in your part-time. So I think this is something that, if you can get behind, if you can partake, it's really going to be worth your while. Taking time off of work for it, no, not needed. But I would say it is a fixed date, which is something that if you did want to take time off in order to watch, if you did work on a weekend, this would be the one where it wouldn't be postponed, and then you're frustrated because you booked days off work and they moved the date.
Mm. Yeah, people are saying like they made it more streamer friendly by leaving time between events. that's not just a streamer friendly thing. It's also a viewer friendly thing because you can pee.
Yep.
You can
You're
get
stealing my
food.
point, Paul. You're stealing my point.
Go ahead, Fastcar. What should people expect on the
So yes,
watching it live?
I was expecting STEM to say this first, but Griffin was the actual first person to say this. SolCitizens they're happening around the world that weekend. So check one out if you have one locally, or maybe you still have a week. You can plan one yourself. Hanging out in Discord is a great alternative. People have already mentioned that. Finding a community you're comfortable with and hang out and watch it together. We did that last year in SolCitizens, and I had a blast. You mentioned it before. Also, snacks, drinks, those are important. Just have them by your desk so you don't have to get up as often. I think this is important. I don't think anyone. Paul, you beat me to it. Pace yourself a bathroom break because some of these presentations can be 60 minutes to 90 minutes long. So if you feel you may have to go, but a presentation coming up and you don't want to miss a thing, go ahead and go then because the first 3 minutes are going to be introductions anyway. So yeah, better be safe than sorry. Another thing people haven't mentioned: pace your wallet. CID could release different ships on different days. So yes, don't empty out your wallet on the first thing that they announce. Like wait till the whole thing is over, and then choose what will best fit your fleet after the fact. So yeah, pace your wallet.
Yep.
That's very good advice.
I forgot about those sorts of things because they usually release 3 things at a CitizenCon. So usually it's
and they have 2 days. So
it's usually a small, a medium, and a large or a capital, some kind of things like that. So they tend to release a lot of ships at a CitizenCon. There's usually a big centerpiece, but there's sometimes a little smaller ones as well.
And if you do miss any of it, miss like the first half an hour because they always start late.
Yes, they always start late. It'll always be late. That's not even like a advice for CitizenCon. That's an advice for like any live event. I've never been to a live event that was on time except for like a play or like a musical which has been running for 40 years, kind of thing, where like those people know what they're doing. But just in general, I will say, just generally speaking, if you live at a weird time zone compared to LA, like if LA time, if 9 a.m. LA time is like midday your time, don't stay up until 2:00 in the morning watching this stuff. Unless you really want to, unless you're a night owl and this is kind of thing. But like just in general, CitizenCon is not really about stupidly good, awesome, great moments where you're just like, oh my God, this is so cool. There's maybe like 3 every CitizenCon, like the helmet flip or the sandworm, or like there's a couple of those like hype moments. But generally speaking, what CIG releases is it's kind of like a mini GDC where like you get a bunch of cool stuff, some behind the scenes, some cool things. And then content creators and other people will go through that footage afterwards and be like, oh shit, I know what this is. And they'll connect it to other things. And so you can really get the full scope of things. Like I watched an entire panel on clothing in 2018. Nobody was there.
Yeah.
But at the end of that panel, they started showing Squadron 42 footage that nobody had seen before. And it was like, oh, okay, I see what you did. You knew this was going to be a boring panel, so you started throwing in Squadron footage because it was part of what you had.
Was that the one that was parallel to the Tony Z talk?
Yes.
Yeah, because I was in that one too.
Yeah,
because I couldn't make it to the Tony Z one.
Yeah, it was with Jay Lee and a bunch of other folks up there, and they're all talking about.
It was good.
Yeah. That was the one. There was also one where they're talking about how they want to do with the character creator have a body slider, so you can have different body shapes in the game as well for these. So you can have heights and different, because they were talking about how up to that point they had a fixed access point for a skeleton and an access point for flying. So like the seats had to be a specific height, so it means the characters had to be a specific height. But since then, they've kind of changed it around a little bit so that it's more variable, so the seats can go up and down in different places. And so that was in 2018, and now they're actually adding stuff in. So, who knows? So do
you think an endowment slider would be a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it would be a perfect thing,
Nobody
because
Simmons the one to ask.
well, listen,
you're gonna
I would
ask
ask.
listen. Making my character have some thick booty is mandatory. It's priority in my side of things. All right, the male model is woefully unasked. That male model has Hank Hill butt, and that is unacceptable. This is the year. This is year 2953. All right, you're going to tell me that they don't have butt implants in the year 2953? What you're going to tell me that thick is no longer in 2953? I refuse. That is a future I do not want to live in. That is a dystopian future that no one wants to live in.
Butt slider.
This is why you will live on Terra and not Earth.
Yes. But the idea was that they wanted to have very like character geometry, effectively making a character whatever you want them to look like, not only for RP purposes, but because, you know, all of Star Citizen developers play other games, and at that time was when Ark and Conan was out, and everyone was like, dong slider, and so I'm sure people were like, yes, this is good. But yeah, and that was the thing. It's like people saying you couldn't fit in the armor, and that was the panel that they were talking about. That they were working on technologies in 2018 to allow for the variable geometry for the armor to change with the body it was on. And so that was cool. It was like, it was a boring panel, but they were talking about shit like that. It was like, oh, this isn't so boring anymore. Like the title was super like drab, but it would turned out to be pretty cool.
Yeah, one thing I'm noticing that some of the descriptions for these panels, they're kind of vague, but you know they kind of have to be. So they don't want to spoil too much in the pre-show, and you know they don't also don't want to give too much away. And yeah, so I can see why it's kind of vague on purpose, but it is a little disappointing. But hopefully it'll make up for it during the actual presentation.
Yes, I think it'll get into those sort of things. So, well, I think that's going to end our general discussion of CitizenCon. We're going to go into the question and answer session. So take time for people to use the restroom, something to drink. If you're listening to this on the podcast, I know I've at this point I'll have dropped 3 podcast episodes in a row because I forgot to upload the last 2 podcasts to the podcast section. So you get that, you get this, and we'll be right back. If you're listening to the podcast, we'll just jump right into that section. But otherwise, hang out, chat, and YouTube and Twitch. Ask questions on using the question thing on Twitch. I don't have anything for YouTube because it didn't work very well. But I'll do my best to try to do everything else. And with that being said, I will see you all in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere, chat.
You done?
All right. We'll be right back, chat. We're going to use the restroom. Use the restroom now, chat. Just like we were talking about pacing yourself. Pace yourself now.
That's right.
Because it's going to be a while. We just spent an hour and a half doing this, so.
Y'all lightweights without a catheter.
I'll be back. I'll be back.
BRB.
And thank you, Buster, for being my sister in support of the thickness, the male cake. the male needs a dump truck. All right.
All right.
All right. No giveaways. No.
None? Better turn it off.
Why is it
Bouncer
still
bot's
saying
there
giveaways,
is
though?
one?
That was an old giveaway.
I'm looking forward to the con. It's going to be great.
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Let me see who else is here. We're still missing Fast Cart. But Griff is here. Griff, you good?
Yep, I'm laying out my show for tomorrow. I'm here.
Awesome.
Working.
I know that feeling. I literally was in the middle of editing for my next episode, and I was like, I should release it today. I'm like, no, I'm not going to release it until Sunday. When I had to start this, I was like, nope, gotta get started. So,
How much time do you put into editing your episodes?
it depends. Like a lot of lore stuff I do. If it's a really complicated one, it'll take longer, and if it's simpler, it's a little bit less. But for like, I'm doing one on the F8, and I finished writing and recording it yesterday, which took me the writing took me about 4 hours. The recording took me about 30 minutes. And I started editing it at about noon today, my time, and I stopped editing at about 2, and I'm about a little bit halfway there. So I would say give it another 3 hours. So my average is about 8 hours. It takes me about an average of 8 hours to edit something together.
And that's for a good lore episode, right?
Yeah,
You've got
for like 10 minutes. Yeah. Like
and
10, 15 minutes.
And you write the script out fully and then read it through a few times to make sure it rolls well.
Yep. And sometimes I'll record it and go back and listen to it and be like, that's garbage. I'm redoing that one. So and the longer it is, the longer it takes me to record. So like a 10-minute video takes me about 30 minutes to record and edit, and for the audio, and anything longer than that. So that's the reason why, like, when I do the complete history of Star Citizen lore stuff, which is 40 minutes every episode, it's like, okay, I'm going to spend about 3 hours recording and editing this together, which is the reason why I hired Uri to do the editing, because I'm just like, Uri, I can't. That's like, it takes me 8 hours. This would take me 14 to 30 hours to get this done. Just go, please. So,
Hey, Paul, I'm back, but I had a quick question. I know I've been on before, but I just wanted to know what do you prefer? If a guest had a question you wanted to ask in the chat, or we can just interrupt, or what do you prefer?
just interrupting is fine, because we can
Okay,
just kind of
because
go
I have a
with
question. So,
yeah. All right, let's go into this. Hold on. That's what I wanted to do. Here we go. All right, we're back with a question and answer session with Fast Cart and Griffin Gaming RPG from the Soul Citizens and Stim Citizen from the Yacht Club. So yeah, we're gonna be asking questions, answer questions from the chat. Fast Cart, you did have a question though earlier. What is that?
So they have a panel on the Star Engine. My question is, I've been confused about the timeline for Star Engine, because I first started mistakenly. I thought the community came up with the name for Star Engine, but it turns out the CIG was the first one for people to call it Star Engine. Do you know when that occurred?
Well, I think the Star Citizen community called it the Star Engine.
That's what I thought, but
Yeah.
other people are saying that the developers were the first one to call it Star Engine.
No, I think the community called it first, and I think that was back in. When did they get Frankfurt? The Frankfurt office opened? Was that
15?
It's 15 or 16? I think it was 15.
15 or 16, yeah.
15, I think it was the 15.
It was around then, maybe about a year after the Frankfurt office show was been around, because I think that's when the community started joking about it, because that's when the community started going, yep, like, this is basically a new engine, and they just call it the Star Engine. Because
Okay,
I
so
know,
the community did come up with it first, and then CIG picked up on it.
oh, we got CIG in trouble for it.
Oh, really?
Don't you remember? Like, they used
the
community
lawsuit
references during the lawsuit. Like, they used our post
I didn't know
about it
about
during the
that.
lawsuit.
No, I missed that. I missed that during the lawsuit. So yeah, because I just thought it was interesting that they there's a presentation called talking about the Star Engine. So yeah.
Oh yeah, because that's lawsuit's now dead and gone. Like they settled that.
Right.
Thank you for those gift subs. That's a lot of gift subs. Thank you.
Very nice.
Can I give a shout out to two of the OGs? We talked about Gamble earlier, Sergeant Gamble, but Fastcart just mentioned Stoutman is here.
Stoutman's here too. Yeah.
And I know I embarrass him all the time, but I got so much information to him working the midnight shift at my job, watching him at night. So
yes,
it's good to see him here.
Yeah, there's a lot of the old OGs are coming back and hanging out. So how you doing, Stout?
That's basically it. I was just wondering when the CIG started referencing the Star Engine. So yeah, thank you.
No, and for those of you who are wondering, like, especially if you're new, like, what lawsuit? What's going on? So Star Citizen started off on the CryEngine, and then when Crytek decided to implode in 2014, 2015, and to the point where they were not paying their developers anymore, CIG opened up a new office in Frankfurt, Germany, which is the headquarters of Crytek, because they managed to get several of the original developers of the CryEngine, which is, fun fact, includes John Crew, who worked on the first Crisis game. He's listed on the first Crisis game. So a lot of the senior members of CIG are former Crisis developers or former Crytek developers. It's an eclectic mix now of Ubisoft, Crisis, Crytek, and gosh, what is the other one that's over there? And Blizzard. There's a lot of employees from all of those, because a lot of the LA team and the Austin team are former Blizzard employees. So, but when they did that, they started to modify the CryEngine significantly to the point where people joke that it's now the Star Engine. And sometime in like 2016, 2017, I want to say, maybe 2018, they stopped using CryEngine and moved to the Lumberyard, which is a branch of CryEngine. It's effectively CryEngine, but designed with some little greebly addy bits to make it run on AWS servers. And it's not even called that anymore. It's called like the Amazon's open source engine or something like that. And so CIG moved to Lumberyard because they wanted to move their backend services to AWS, because they were using the Google cloud services for a while and that didn't work. So they moved to AWS. And that whole process got them in trouble with Crytek, who was already mad that they were poaching people from their development teams.
We're paying them.
Yeah, they weren't paying them, but you know that they were mad about that, because they felt that there was a betrayal, because they were at their lowest moment, and CIG was just like, nom, 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 like
situation. Yep.
Yeah. And so that caused a multi-year lawsuit where Crytek, who was broke as shit, decided to sue CIG because they saw them as a money pinata and hoped to knock money out of them. And when that didn't turn out to be an easy one, they had, I think, 3 turnovers of lawyers. And
lawyers, yeah. My favorite turnover was when CIG produced a paper, an agreement that they both signed, saying something that proved CIG's point, and then the lawyers at the time all quit, and they had to hire
a brand new ones.
New lawyers.
It was the definition of a frivolous lawsuit. It was what it was. And they almost got it. I don't think it was dismissed with prejudice. I think some aspects were dismissed with prejudice, but eventually the lawyer was just like, this is obviously something is going on between you two. Just work it out. Don't drag this to the courts. Work it out between yourselves. And so they did work out some sort of deal, which no one's talked about. We don't know the details behind it. But since then, Crytek has shut the fuck up. So I think that the deal was, we'll pay you some money if you shut the fuck up. And that's basically the last we've heard about that sort of thing. But since then, they've been more open about calling it the Star Engine, because it's basically what it is. It's a modification of CryEngine, but it's its own brand new engine. Nothing else can run on it. So
thank you for that. Yeah, I was just curious. They have a presentation. The first presentation is called had Star Engine in the title, so that was the first time I've seen that. And I was like, oh wow, okay.
And at one point, I'd heard that they had rewritten like 90% of the code or something like that. Is there any credibility to that?
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they have the original developers of the CryEngine there at Frankfurt.
Quite a few.
So.
I mean, they talk about replacing legacy code and how the legacy code always caused problems in Star Citizen. So yeah.
It may have been it may not be that 90% of all the code has been rewritten, but I'd imagine that there were massive parts of the code which are completely different. Like I think it was the shader and renderer are completely different now because they have to use new technologies to make it work. And I'm sure a lot of the way that the game communicates information has been completely rewritten because of PES and server meshing. Like that whole thing.
My guess is the 10% code that remains are all comments for the developers from previous. All comments.
So yeah, there is so much of the Star engine that is so different from the CryEngine that I wouldn't imagine that by the time Star Citizen actually reaches an official 1.0 status, even if that's when we're all dead and gone, that engine will be so different. It's kind of like the Call of Duty engine was originally in id Works. I think it might have been in Unreal. I think it was id Works. It was originally on the id engine, and it's nothing like it anymore. You can't ever, like, they're so different. There's no way you could ever kind of make them talk to each other anymore because they're so, like, evolved differently. So, all right. The first question comes from Doc Platypus, who asks, which ships do you foresee them releasing at or around CitizenCon? And what concepts do you think they'll introduce, or which would you like to have them introduce? So, Fastcart, let's start with you on this one. What ships do you think they'll release around CitizenCon?
Spirit. They talk about the A1. So, just Spirit. What were the other questions?
Any other ships you think you're going to be, like any concept ships or anything else, like
oh, definitely. Like you said, that they released a I don't want to say cheap, inexpensive one, a medium tier, and an expensive one. Some people are anticipating there's going to be at least 10 ships released, so I don't know how that's going to work, but we shall see. But yeah. My friends at New Soul, especially Pop Space, is hoping for a alien industrial ship. So if they release 10 ships, maybe that'll be he'll get his wish. Yeah, I can't really think of anything. I mean, as far as new concept ships, I can't really think of anything that's really missing. Cause maybe a medium-sized miner, medium-sized salvager, something like that. We'll see.
I'll go next and by saying, because a lot of people are mentioning the Zeus Mark II. There has been that rumor that's been around. It's not a leak, because a leak would imply that there is like actual evidence for it. This is just one person apparently talked about it at to one of the people at Pipeline, and it's the source that they trust. But this is where I hit you all with the terrifying reality of CIG. CIG is siloed to shit and back. Like, they are so different and diverse in terms of their groups that they very rarely do any teams talk to each other unless it's for an official business. So anything
they have a lot of cross-functional teams that work on things, but it is project specific.
Yeah, it's very project specific. So like this would have to be one of the 3 people who work on that ship if it's somebody who's talking about a ship,
or the producer's producer.
Yeah. So there would have to be some aspects to it. So anything that even if it's actually a person that they have source for and all that kind of stuff, they don't know everything about the project. They only know what they can see about that. And we've had this in the past where people have, like, there was this rumor that Pipeline produced, which was, I believe, the Anvil Thor, I think was what it was called, or the Anvil. It was an Anvil ship, and it was another kind of like Norse god, which was they were doing it, like Loki or Thor or Odin or something like that. I think it was called the Anvil Odin. And it turned out to be the Perseus, which was not the same name, and it was a completely different manufacturer because it was RSI. So it could be the case where the Zeus Mark II, which has been rumored and leaked, isn't the Zeus or the Mark II. It's completely different manufacturer and a completely different name. Yeah, and it wasn't RSI, it was Anvil, I believe.
Good job managing expectations, Paul. I'll give you a thumb up.
Yeah. So, but from what I've seen of that supposed leak as well, I will say that possibly could be released as a concept ship. But I've also seen lots of like data leaks of cutter variants. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got the 2 cutter variants that they've been leaking. But other than that, I couldn't tell you. Griff, what do you think?
Ships. I've been trying to go through the list of all the stuff that we are pretty confident about, and especially in light of IAE being right behind this. So you've got the definitely demonstrations of either the A1 and C1, Argo SRV, Suntuk Yai, the variants on the cutter. I know there's something else I'm forgetting about. There's another something. We saw just concept stuff of the X1. We don't know how far along they are with that. I'm with your same formula of small, medium, and large.
Mhm.
You know, for years, people have been aching about the fact that Anvil, one of the main contractors for UEE, does not have a capital ship yet. There are also some anonymous, you know, some ships on there that we don't have named out yet. If Pyro is imminent, I'm going to pull that old theory out I mentioned previously. Obviously, the Liberator would be beneficial. The CIG has shown us that the Hull C would be able to transport ships, but they don't have the grid mechanism working yet for that.
Mhm.
But if they were to pull out the Liberator, that would be a surprise, and I could see them getting away with doing that with Pyro. And then the other issue is the Kraken. Now I know this is really stretching the imagination, but that freaking Kraken is shown up in 3 different videos with them. It showed up with Jax last year. It showed up with the Scorpius, and there was another video that the Kraken was in. And if they were to surprise the community as 5 years ago with a Kraken, even though they've said that the Polaris would be the next capital ship they work on, that would be a surprise. But there's a lot of mechanics to the Kraken that I don't think that they're ready for yet. So I'd go more with the Liberator being a reality as a surprise ship that would come out. As far as ground vehicles are concerned, don't know. I know that the G12 was on the list, but I don't know how long that's been. I don't think that's been on long enough to pop up with that. What's that thing that you like, Fast Cart? The motorcycles, the
the Ranger, Tumble Ranger.
Tumble Rangers
Yeah.
have been out there. So there's some stuff that you know that's unannounced. I mean, it's not anonymous, unannounced that they could drop in. But as far as something big, the 600i rework has been delayed. That wouldn't fall into the category of unannounced. So I'm not even
Mhm.
expecting to see something like that. So I'm betwixt and between a little bit on what they're going to deliver. Oh, Fastcar did mention the RSI mining ship that's between the Mole and the Orion.
That's
that
good.
could be a sneaker. Oh, and the Expanse. That I
Mhm.
could see being practically in. Refining to start rounding out this whole mining career. If they drop the Expanse in, that's a realistic one for me.
But those have all been like pre-concept. What about stuff that the unannounced stuff? Yeah.
I'm saying any of those. When I say unannounced, I'm saying it's not on the schedule. I'm not saying unannounced is
Okay.
you know, like when they did the Valkyrie. Remember they just dropped the Valkyrie. We didn't know nothing about
Right,
the freaking
right,
Valkyrie.
right.
You're talking about like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because anything
Okay.
they do like that is going to be career based to me. That means they come up with some new like when they dropped the doggone troop transport thing. You know what I mean? It came out of freaking nowhere. What was that thing called?
The Valkyrie.
No. The
Steel?
the boarding ship one. The
Oh,
boarding
the
ship.
Legionnaire.
Yeah, the
Legionnaire.
Legionnaire.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh
So I
yeah.
don't know.
What do you think, Stim? What are the ships would you guess?
Well, there is I think it was an email that came in recently where they put redacted on a couple of areas. So we know that they're releasing something.
Mhm.
I agree that there's pretty historically been like a small, medium, and large, like a capital ship with you there, Paul. Ships they've been working on recently that we've been hearing about that are not out yet that may drop during the show would be the Spirit. So that whole series, the Santok Yai, the Argo SRV potentially, the Tumbrel Storm, the G12
Oh,
series
I
has been
forgot.
worked on for a while.
Yeah.
Some people have mentioned the Polaris. That's quite a possibility. I think we'd get the Polaris before we get the what was the other one that was mentioned a little bit earlier? Can't remember.
The Kraken.
Well, yeah, but I do, before the Kraken, but I actually do like the Kraken concept, because if we're talking about, Pyro coming out, the Kraken would be fantastic to release with Pyro. Omega
Perseus, is that the
shares
one?
as the Perseus. Yeah, maybe. Maybe I think the Polaris would come out first, even though I think the Perseus is a great ship. What else do we have in there? We've got the X1 series that they're working on. That's getting pretty far along, or at least it's a very, very advanced white box.
Oh wait, were you thinking of the Liberator? Is what we were talking about earlier?
No, it was before that. I
Okay.
think it was the Kraken that we were talking about. But I do like the Kraken as an idea. It's been around for quite a long time. The fact that there'd be no talk about it, pretty tightly sealed lips. I don't know. It seems a bit surprising, but I like the theory that Griff is going with there. Yeah, I think the other ones are two kind of white box. The temporal cycles maybe, but they were talking about wheeled vehicles was something that was in the pipeline that they were working on. So that's
wasn't there
entirely
like
possible.
a blocker for the tumble race?
Yes.
Having trouble with having 2-wheel versus 4?
This has not only been mentioned recently on Star Citizen Live, but I think it's been brought up by Jake when I've asked him about it before, which is like there is technologies they specifically need to do for 2 wheels. They need to completely kind of how physics works on them and all these sorts of things, which to me sounds a little bit like, okay, it's a bike. I've seen bikes in CryEngine games before. Let's not get this too complicated. But I think the answer is that they want to make sure that they can not just build a bike, but build it so that they can make 1,000 bikes in game. So, because that's what they do with everything. It's like, we want to make sure whatever we're doing is important for everything going forward. So when we make our bike, we can make, a bike from RSI or Anvil or Drake or whatever. So,
I had a quick comment, but I want to make sure that STEM was done.
Well, I was just going to say that, in the same vein as the wheels being sorted out properly, being a blocker, so is kind of the whole tractoring process. That's something they've been working on for a long time. And the Argo SRV is one that, is kind of that next level of tractoring that we need to see. So
and that is supposed to come out in the near future. So like the 3.21.x series. So.
Yeah, exactly. Fastcart, go ahead.
So you're talking about the Zeus Mark II. Are you sure the developer had mentioned that wasn't just taking the Lord's name in vain? Hey, Zeus.
God damn it. Fastcart.
That even took me a couple
I'm leaving him
seconds
here when I
before
leave the show today.
That's fine. That's fine. Well, I've also I'm going to put some. I would love to see the Zeus show up in game as a flyable ship. I am one of those people who everyone has their unreasonable expectation for Star Citizen. That is my unrealistic expectation for Star Citizen because it's cool. It's an historic ship. There's a lot of lore behind it. It's a legitimate lore ship. That's cool. I want it CIG. But when I look at
Squadron 42,
no,
No,
it's not in Squadron 42. But when I heard Zeus Mark II, I was immediately like, don't give me that hope. Don't give me that hope. Whoever you are, random CIG employee, don't give me that hope. And then the shape of the ship got leaked in terms of a sketch that they drew. And my first thought was, this is nothing like the Zeus. This looks like the Galaxy at best. It looks more like a F8 had a baby with a Galaxy is what it looks like. And
how big is the Zeus? Is this something that we should be able to buy in game?
Large. It's a medium to large. It's a three-person ship. It was a transport. It was a lifting body, so it's built just like the space shuttle and stuff like that. But yeah, it's about the same size as the Connie.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's a beautiful ship.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's beautiful. This in game. It's so beautiful. It's like the way it was designed. I mean, a lot of people's like, it's a space shuttle. I'm like, yes, I want a space shuttle that can go quantum drive, please. Too bad Paul doesn't have the band FC jokes like Soul does. We
love Matthew's sense of humor.
We love for his sense of humor. I wouldn't have made it if it wouldn't happen like that. So, thanks for that raid there, P-Mad. All right, let's move on to the next question, which is from Ashhole, who asks, what is the point of large medical, or actually, wait, there was a live stream question that I could answer real quickly. Someone brought something up. I don't remember what it was. All right, I'll keep asking the question. Adrian asked me do you think CIG is considering technologies like DLSS and FSR for Squadron 42? Yes. That's not even a question. Like they've talked about it openly, and anything that CIG can shove into the engine, the renderer, to make it look pretty, they will do it. And those people are insane. The people who work on that part of the game are just like I can make it work. Let's do it.
To Paul's point, wasn't that one developer who worked, was it 3 months or something like that, just to get procedural planets in the game when they thought procedural planets was far off?
Yes, yeah. I mean, and it's that same team. That's I think it's in Manchester, not in Manchester, in Frankfurt. Who
Frankfurt?
That. These are the people who want to like make Star Citizen VR. So, yeah, I keep forgetting the name of the developer. I'm sure chat won't remember them, but they're on ISC a lot and that kind of stuff talking about it. So they're very Sylvan. Thank you.
Sylvan.
I'm caffeinated.
Okay.
Sylvan. Yeah, Sylvan and their team is just, they're you're mad lads, but I love you. So. I don't know how much DLSS and FSR would be in Star Citizen. I know they just started working on the global point illumination system. They've just started, that first version of it is being added to the game. So, all right. So back to the question: what is the point of a large medical or hospital ship when the med beds take seconds to heal you? They won't always take seconds to heal you.
Right. Medical gameplay is it will be much more in depth than what we have right now.
Yeah.
There's things that we don't even have in the game, such as replacement limbs, cyborg limbs, things of that nature. There's the aspect of the full implementation of Death of a Spaceman, where you're only going to survive for a certain amount of time. There's a lot of different aspects to it. So right now we have the tier levels 1, 2, and 3 for the beds. Some of the ships that even have certain beds on them now, like when we had the Cutlass Red, you guys remember the Cutlass Red used to be a resing bed, and they've changed that. And so that's going to happen in several other ships as well. So hospitals will be places where when you are seriously injured, the Cuddy Red works as an ambulance, so is the C8R, just to stabilize you, get you from bleeding. There will be some that will be able to heal some of your wounds, but you still may have to go to a hospital to be fully healed. And then there's going to be the process of possible gameplay where medical procedures are done on you, such as when you need to have a limb restored. There will be people who, if those of us who play Star Wars Galaxies, loved being doctors, and there'll be Dr. Frankenstein waiting for you when you come into the hospital at Grim Hex, waiting for you to help you out, and you'll walk out with the Joker smile on your face. So,
I'd much rather have the Gene Wilder one.
Yeah. Well, but basically, medical gameplay is going to be way more than what we have now. That's basically what we can tell you. We're only like a tier 1 or 2 of what might be tier 5 or 6 when they're done.
Version 2 of actor status is already being worked on, and it is part of that system. So go ahead, Stim.
I was going to say with the Apollo, having tiers 1, 2, and 3 beds, even though they reduce from having 3 of them to 2 of them to only 1 of them, because you need that space, maybe the power draw, whatever it is. There, I'm pretty sure it's going to end up being where you have to go to a hospital, like Griff is saying. Things won't be able to be done when you're out in the field, regardless of what ship you have, unless it's an Endeavor, which is a flying hospital.
Yeah.
Also, resources are going to be a thing. So unless you have a fully stocked med bed properly, then you may run out of stuff pretty quickly.
Medical gameplay will definitely enhance risk versus reward.
Mm-hmm.
We're very, very comfortable with I'll die and jump right back in. And that's not necessarily going to be the case later on. Someone even asked today about even the implementation of, CIG is kind of notorious known for if something's put in the game, there's a reason for it. And you got to ask your question, why do they have wheelchairs in the game? We understand why they've got the tables, but why do they have wheelchairs in the game?
Wheelchair racing, of course.
Yeah, there you go. Race down the hallways, right? We don't know completely what medical gameplay is going to be like, but if it's in depth, and when I say in depth, I'm using mining as an example. I thought mining was going to stop about 3 iterations back, and they're still figuring out stuff to do with mining.
Yeah.
If they make every career in depth like that, you're going to have a lot to do and a lot to keep you busy.
And a lot of this stuff is also waiting on physics changes, on like things like server meshing. So there's a lot of like fundamental core tech which hasn't done yet. And once that gets done, is when you'll start seeing the active changes to these bigger systems, because there's no more blockers and there's more space for them. Madness is saying, I'll settle for NPCs not standing on chairs first. I think it's easier for CIG to figure out how medical gameplay works than it is for them to figure out how to get NPCs to not stand on chairs. That's a lot simpler.
Or how about elevators that don't kill you?
No, I think elevators will always kill you in Star Citizen. It will always be a problem. To the point where CIG will fix the problem and then intentionally do it again to make it a random chance for you to die as a joke, because that's just the way CIG works.
I think they need to nerf trolleys, or at least come up with a lesser trolley.
A trolley that's not been designed by Heisenberg himself, you know.
Oh man.
No, what's been on Heisenberg? Oppenheimer. That hasn't been developed by
Oppenheimer. Okay, I was wondering.
Yeah. Heisenberg did do nuclear stuff, but just for the opposite side.
Yes.
I didn't see any blue trolleys.
Yeah. Oh god. Demon Core. That's every trolley is a demon core. If anyone gets that joke.
I want the battle trolley. I've been waiting for that.
The battle trolley. Yes. All right, next question comes from Zarek Masters, who asks, in Squad 42, Chris made it sound like we would see more than the Gladius and F8 as hero ships. What other ships do you think we'll see unannounced and announced? The F7A? The Retaliator?
Yeah, I was going to say Hornet, but yeah, you're right, the F7A, the military variant rather than the civilian variant.
Yeah.
The Gladiator, the F7A, probably the Retaliator in some way. Like, those are all big ships that we know are in squadrons, so... Yeah. Maybe even the Saber. We saw pictures of the Saber too. So,
what do you think, the Saber is one of the first. Yeah, Saber is one of the first. I don't want to say base, but you know, one of the oldest new ship that they put in the game is the Saber. So yeah, you can definitely expect that in front of it too. I would say the Hornet, but you were more specific when you said the F7A, the F8A as opposed to F8C. That'll be one. Oh, we've been avoiding the F8, the whole F8 thing.
That's not what this show is about. Thank you very much.
I mean, people can ask the question.
On that point, since Fast Cart went there, I was going to say we did talk about it on our show before this. And there was something that we watched in Ben Lesnick's commentary. He was asked by a Batgirl about it. And he said something, because we were talking about what has CIG said over the years. This is 2016. 2016. And what has CIG said over the years? And what they've said, believe it or not, over the years is we're not selling it. We're thinking about selling it. We'd like to sell it. We'd promo it. They've said a bunch of things over those years. We watched the video. But here was the thing that was interesting. He said the F8 has changed its role in the game. And I was like, oh, really? And that was when he was talking about they were considering the idea of making it available. So we've always looked at the F8 as being the freaking holy grail. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Just throw that out there.
So the F8C is not the holy grail. The F8A may be the holy grail, but there might be something beyond the F8A, if you can imagine.
No, but I'm saying, the backers have made the F8C the holy grail because that's the one they know they're going to get.
Right.
And they said said in the most recent, was it the Q&A that came out? They were talking about the difference between the F8C and the F8A, and it was something I can't remember exactly, but it's a little bit less firepower.
The turrets are size smaller in the F8C.
Yeah, it's nuts. The F8A has 6 size 3s and 2 size 4s. It's got like FU levels of firepower.
And I cannot wait to fly it.
It's a next-gen fighter, as they say.
Well, the Scorpius has 4 size 3 on it, right? And then the main cannon has it's a Scorpius. It's a single player Scorpius is what the F8A is. Yeah. Plus 2 size 4s.
Basically what it is, it's a soloable 2-player ship.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it's designed to do. It's designed to take a lot of beatings from the Van Duel and blow them up. So,
and I think the last ship I mentioned, Paul, you mentioned it, but the Gladiator, because that's one of the oldest ships that also. But I think there'll be probably a military variant rather than what we fly in the verse right now.
What's the name of it? It's actually the A variant of the Gladiator does exist in the lore, so it's got its own. Gladiator. There we go. It has its own determined the T8. The T8A is what it stands for. It's Torpedo 8A. The T8C is what we have in game. So.
And how canon is that? Like, and the reason why I say that is because, you know, even the whole D and E had these, you know, military variants that were spoken about, you know, in some of the original Q&A and stuff like that. How is there one reference or is there multiple references for the T8?
Being in Squadron 42, there's no references to the Gladiator being in Squadron 42. However, almost all of the images of the Bengal have a Gladiator. All of the Bengal carrier flight decks, every single shot has a Gladiator in it.
Interesting. So they really want to pair those up. Okay.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the lore references, or even like this, because one thing I did a video on the T8 on the Gladiator, and when I was doing research, I was like, hey, it'll be kind of like a fun thing, and I just kept finding more references to the damn thing.
It's the most pirate-looking ship. Like, it really is. And I think that's why it gets chosen from an art style. But I wonder if there's more to it from the lore style. Because
the Gladiator is just huge in terms of like its reach in the lore, and it's always paired up with the F-7C. So like it's the dive bomber version of the Hornet basically. So it's designed to be the Hornet escorts, the Gladiator attacks. So I don't know if we'll fly the Gladiator, but almost can guarantee you that we will escort them. So, you know.
And for my last answer, I'll say the Starfield Gemini, because that's the military variant.
That's true. What do you think, Stim? What ships do you think will fly in Squadron?
Very good question. I have tried to stay out of the Squadron 42 hype. I really want to experience it with no spoilers. Like, okay, so I'm almost the opposite of you, Paul. When it comes to it, I've been blissfully ignorant on Squadron 42, and I hope it remains that way. And on the Yacht Club in general, we don't talk about spoilers.
Yeah,
which is interesting because what is the definition of a spoiler in a way? Like, here I'm sitting here saying I don't want to know anything before I play it, but at the same time, is the definition of a spoiler basically before CIG spoils it for us?
CIG's just spoil for you. You know, well, I agree with you. I know Meyer is of the same mindset. Meyer has told me straight up is he doesn't watch trailers ever.
Yeah.
Because he just doesn't want to be spoiled. Okay. He knows that a trailer will spoil a lot of games and movies and stuff like that. So he just doesn't.
I don't watch trailers myself, especially if it's a trailer I'm going to see, a movie I'm going to see, like a Marvel MCU movie. I don't watch the trailer because I'm not going to see it.
I find that most movies, if they can sum it up in a trailer, I don't want to see it anyway.
Yeah.
So if all the good parts are shown in the trailer, then thank you, I'm done.
Well, when you're 60 years old, you may not be around. You watch every trailer you can get. All right, that's all I'm going to say.
I'm of the opinion. I'm a teacher. I don't exactly have money, big spendy money. So when it comes to things, me and the wife will sometimes look up full on spoilers of movies before we watch it to say, like, is it good? What's the ending like? And then we'll actually go seeing it. So yeah.
But I am with them. I try to stay away from leaks. I stay away from spoilers. But you know, this is the stuff I mentioned have been mentioned before. Whether they able to avoid it. So sorry, Stem.
No worries. I guess the only thing I'd follow up with, like, to say what ships it'll be is, you know, if it's anything like the Wing Commander series, you know, and if you're earning your citizenship as a citizen within the verse, within the UEE, you know, you're going to be flying all the military ships, right? So it's going to be that progression, and you may have, and you know, obviously AstroPub, you know, we're talking about, you know, I'm assuming, right, that there's, you know, missions where you're doing bombing, and there's different sorties that you're out doing, and you know, so I think there's going to be a whole bunch of them where. When it comes to capital ships, I think you'll be more of a fighter on those capital ships. And I think the gameplay, they've got an interesting opportunity where they could do things like systemic gameplay. So, you know, there could be a problem and you could be the engineer that's running around fixing things. Like they might have different chapters where you're doing certain things, where it's different gameplay styles to give you a bit of a slice about what the actual PU is going to be like and what some of those gameplay options are going to be.
No comment.
Or it could just be dogfighting like with Wing Commander. So I don't know.
No comment. I'm not going to be spoiling to people, but Because I know, by stupid me, I know. But, you know, like, I've said it many times, but the whole thing is just, I went to go find the bacon quote from Tessa, and I ended up finding out the entirety of Squadron 42's story.
So wait, Tessa's in Squadron 42. No, I'm kidding.
Funny.
Well, it's just because the audio files were not, like, Star Citizen's audio files aren't labeled like Star Citizen audio and Squadron 42 audio. It's just audio. And it's just everything. And so the thing we found was an old leaked, the infamous Disco Lando leak from back then, which was basically the main branch. So it had everything mixed in together. And
that is such a misnomer. And
it wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault.
It should not be called a Disco Lando leak. I'm there for you, Disco. I understand.
Under the bus.
But it's hard to not note that it was because of a partial URL and that CIG wasn't protecting its servers properly. It was bad IT protection, and I know that they do better now. I hope they do better now. But, you know. Yeah, they just have reference numbers. They don't have actual names. So we had to look through file sizes, and by the time we actually found it, we had discovered the plot twist. So, and everything else about it. So, so I'm not going to go in that leak. So that whole distance. But Griff, do you have any idea about ships we're going to be playing for Squadron?
That we're going to be playing for a Squadron. I'd agree with the Gladiator. I mean, like you said, a lot of those ships that, well, you know, CIG. I don't know if they ever stick to this completely, but they've always said that the ships they give us, for the most part, many of them will be in Squadron 42. So I agree. Things like the Retaliator, things of that nature. I'm more curious about the ships that we don't know about that are going to be in Squadron. Because I'm sure there are going to be some other NPC-related ships that we may see that maybe we don't have right now. Both on our side and the Vanduul side, but on both sides. You know, definitely on the alien side. But we haven't seen Xi'an stuff. We haven't seen anybody else's stuff. So I'm curious to see.
Oh, the Kurthak.
Well, I'm not sure if we're going to see the Kurthak, but Xi'an and Banu, for example, are two that we know we're in relationship with at that time. So I'd just be curious to see what on the NPC side CIG drops in for us.
So people are now asking me for leaks. I will tell you for certain the Kraken is not in Squadron 42. The Squadron 42 takes place before Star Citizen.
Yep,
so
that's right.
That's not a spoiler. That's just a straight up
fact.
That's
a super spoiler.
Come your ears.
That's the timeline. Don't worry.
It's a timeline thing.
All I need to know, Paul, is do we get the cat race? Do we get the Kilrathi back? Like, is that going to happen?
Oh my god! Oh god, the cats.
That's not a spoiler. That's a blame EA thing.
I mean, we don't know what the Kurthak are, right?
That's
so
true.
They could be.
All right.
I'm hoping.
Okay, so Zarek's asking, are we expecting the secret area to be a Squadron 42 playtest? No, I'm not expecting it. But I'm hoping for it.
Yeah, I'm definitely not. I'm not expecting that.
You started something with that, Paul. You started something.
It's been one of those things that's been in my brain for a long time. Of like, I think Squadron 42 is uniquely built to bring back the old demo sort of idea of have
demo. I forgot about those.
A demo of the first mission would be perfect for like to get people who are absolutely 100% Star Citizen's a scam. Anything the CIG touches is garbage. To throw that out there as a polished demo for people to play, you know, a couple months in advance of the release would be absolutely perfect because people would play it for free and be like, oh, they can make a game, you know, rather than being like hope and prayer sort of thing at release. But, you know.
So Paul, if they released it as a demo, would you say that because of the money that we put into it, it's already shareware? Definitely not freeware.
Shareware, yes, at that point. But what do you can extend to cylinders? And if so, are you guys are excited to play some Squadron 42? Yes, I would be, but I don't think it's going to be the case. What do you think is going to be in the secret area? Griffin, what do you think? That secret area?
I'm not even trying to guess on that one.
Okay. Stim?
Because that's the first time they've done that. I don't know what the heck that's. It's a big area too.
Mm-hmm.
If you compare it to the size of the Dragonfly, yeah.
Well, the thing that throws me off is that they did the fight or flight thing in its own area for that. So what's going to be? I mean, if it's just games for people to go play the game, they could have showed us that. That's no big deal. But
Yeah,
what
it's
the heck
secret.
that's going to be?
It's something.
People are asking what the secret area is, so I'm going to drop the link of the map into chat for them.
There's some scale problems because like they show the VIP area and they show like a chair, a rug, and one like potted plant.
Right.
But if you look at compared to the dragonfly, it's a big potted plant. That is a massive potted plant if that's what it is. So and y'all have seen the actual dimensions of your booth because you'll have the Soul Citizen booth.
Yeah.
And I said it's like a small room is what those booths usually are the size of. And am I wrong on that one?
Yeah, they told us the tables are 6-foot tables, so you can probably, I think it's 10 by 12 or something like that.
Yeah, so
10 by 10, wasn't it? 10 by 10, wasn't
10
it?
by 10 or 10 by 12.
At most
think it's 10 by
conventions,
10.
you're looking at 10 by 10, but we're talking
Is it
about
10 by 10?
large like
Okay.
trade shows. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is at CIG because it's a bespoke area and it's a small enough number of booths that it could be some arbitrary size that isn't the standard. So,
But there's a picture. Xylo posted a picture today of the area. I don't know if you guys saw it on Twitter.
We're talking about the area that they're doing is massive. Like it's a huge convention hall where they have I think 13 booths. So and most convention halls will have slotted correctly will have 30, 50, 100
You mean
booths.
you talking about the community area?
Yes.
20 booths.
20 booths. There's 20 booths. Yeah. So, but if you look at the map, it's hard to reference the scale because they look kind of small. So, like if that's the area for the booths, and they're like say 10 by 10, the entirety of that secret area you could fit the entirety of the booths, the community booths in that. And so, if you think of that that is a huge area. that is a massive area for them to be doing. So,
Yeah.
do you know if yours is a corner booth, Griff?
It is. We're right at the corner where you go in and out of the event. We're in booth 15.
Yeah. On the diagram, it shows it like you've got walls on 3 of the sides.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So can you remove one and have it be more of a corner booth where you only have the 2 walls?
No, that will all be pre-set up the way they're doing that.
yeah.
Yeah, you get the chairs and the tables and all that stuff, but when you come in, that U shape is going to be there. And that's fine with me, to be honest with you, the way that's designed.
Griffin, if you can find that tweet from Tyler, I would appreciate it. You can drop it in chat. I could put it in chat myself.
All right.
Hey, Sanchez, thank you. VR, I didn't know we had a VR community. Thank you for rating. We were talking about it earlier. But yeah, so let's move on to the next one. So yeah, it's I don't think any of us can tell what it is at this point.
I've already gave my guess. I thought it was something like like an MPUV or so over right there. Something a huge vehicle, life size.
You know that JR has a dream of building a life size MPUV, right?
Yeah, we hope they do.
Oh,
Yeah,
that'd be amazing.
That's what he wants to do at one point. So
There it is, FC.
all right. So Steve the Dancer asks, do you have an F8C? What do you think about the golden ticket and platinum tickets? So that was 2 hours ago question. So it was going to be brought up anyways. I'll start with a very basic. I do have one because I spent 10 to 15K on this game. 14K of it, just about, is just me buying stuff for giveaways over the last 6 years. So, in terms of the whole thing, I have a big, long thing about it. I'm not going to go into it. I think the gold and platinum tickets are neat ideas. I love that kind of gameplay stuff. I'm just not a fan of them selling it for cash, because it was one of the few things that was like, hey, you can earn it in games. It was only earnable games. So it's like a nice little video game thing where you're playing a video game and you earn stuff. But that's my disappointment, is that it's just like, oh, so you're selling it. Okay. I'm not mad. I'm just sad, kind of thing. Griff, what do you think?
That's a good way to say it. I thought the silver way of getting it was very cool, right? Because that's rare. It also gets the whole community engaged and involved in it.
The platinum way or the gold way? The platinum way.
The platinum way. I'm sorry. The platinum way I thought was cool. The gold way was too easy for me. I was with Test Squadron, about 15 of us in the room, and within an hour, just about everybody had one, if not two. I know some people are saying they're having difficulty finding them, but if it was a 10-day event, I should have been hunting for at least 2 or 3 days before I found that thing.
Yeah.
It was just too accessible. As far as cost factor, some people are saying it's a money grab. And Fastcar corrected me earlier and said they've made about $3.9 million this week on this. To me, it's not a drop in the bucket. It's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
But they could have done the same thing at CitizenCon and would have made money. And the fact that you have till November 7th to make a decision is even another factor with that. I'm still asking why. Why? What it's not hype. If this is just hype, and if dropping those stations in was just hype, man, there's going to be some mad people later on. You got to deliver. Both that F8 would have been like, if you talk about the ships that they're going to sell at CitizenCon, imagine if they did it at CitizenCon with everybody freaking watching it around the world. They'd have cleaned up. Why did they show that hand a week and a half before the event? So I'm just kind of more dealing with that than anything. And I agree. I don't think that, maybe people got it, but I am just kind of wondering about the cash aspect of it. Give people the opportunity to earn it. If you wanted to put it in the game sooner, because there's that, I'm not heard them say this. I thought the excuse they said was lame about because other people got it in the game and they were, that's during Invictus and they don't get to keep the thing. Yeah. They don't get to keep it. They get, okay, it's a couple days. They do that with the Idris. We're not giving out Idrises. They fly the Idris around. Why are we giving away the F8 for that reason? If they got other reasons, just say those reasons, But I'm like you. I've got one. I haven't even flown mine yet. I'm still sitting in the hangar.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you two things. One, the reason why they're doing the stations around the jump points, I kept meaning to answer and tell you what I think it is. It's because the way that the quantum system works for economy, I think they want to pull the full quantum system for all of the systems into the game. And when they do, before they have those systems that would connect to the systems we have, they'll use those stations as hubs for the commodities that are coming into those systems. Yep. So they'll just be hub points for commodities. So if you want to get a commodity from Terra, but it doesn't exist in Stanton, you go to the Terra jump point and you can buy that commodity there and then move on from the other locations. So it allows for them to do the simulation in the background without having to have those systems in game.
Yeah.
So
and I think when you have like a hull E that can't fit through, medium and small jump points, it will deliver things through to that station. And then you'll have a bunch of smaller ships that just are very good at navigating the jump point to actually ferry things across. And that will be its own little loop.
It's also with the Hull C. So that Hull C has places to go.
Yeah.
So
can I ask another question real quick? Do you think that they will make some ships that are strictly earnable in game? Like if they had said the F8 was earnable in game, do you think there will always be a dollar sign even later on?
100%.
Okay.
After the F8C, when they dropped the F8C, that was the only one I was hoping for. And then after they did that, I'm like, CIG will never not sell ships. Okay. I've always thought that, but now I know, I don't think there'll be a single earnable ship in game in the sense of you can only earn it in game. Okay. Every ship will be sold because CIG can make money off of it.
It was kind of like the taboo moment,
they broke the last
moment for all ships.
They broke that last little latch of the last thing that said that they were like, oh, but we're still making video games, and it's like, nope, you are making a ship sales platform that has a game attached to it. And I don't mean that as like a super negative way, just more of a disappointment.
But it's too bad, you know what I mean? Because, and I'm not trying to hold the ship back from anybody. I'm just saying it did give some players the desire to want to go out there and get in the game to work for it. You know what I mean? And it didn't have to be even in Squadron, because I get some people aren't going to play Squadron. They still could have implemented it in the persistent universe a way for people to get it and tied it into lore. I don't know. I gotta wait. I'm just waiting until next week. I'm like, okay, let's see if next week they give us something that makes sense. We'll see.
The reality is that it Star Citizen's engagement in terms of people logging in has been super low, because as much as CIG needs to promote 320 and 3.21, there's nothing interesting in 3.2 and 3.21 that is enough to drag people from their Baldur's Gate, their Starfield, their there's that.
It's the time of year, right? It's hard.
There's that Star Trek game that just came out, which is just Stellaris but Star Trek, and I haven't even been able to blink at it. It's Stellaris Star Trek, and it's like, oh my god, yes. And then there's City Skylines 2 that's coming out.
That's coming out,
in this month. Like, there are so many games that are releasing that are going to suck people's time away. That like CIG is just never going to be able to defeat them unless they release Pyro. So what do? They created this fantastic idea, which is really cool, and I'm sure their login shot up from being average to being peak. That they've probably close to what they see at Invictus or IAE one day. It's like it's a brilliant move on that part. So, but
Can I weigh in on the?
Go ahead.
I did too. After STEM.
Okay, faster. If you want to go first, feel free.
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So, my opinion might be a little bit unpopular here. So, I also, similar to you, AstroPub, Paul, I've got both the F8C and the Executive Edition one as well. Just by bad choices early in life. but when I saw it go on sale, I thought, you know what? That's okay. It would be a shame on me to think that this wouldn't happen. And I remember watching the Inforunners episode of was the episode Sell Your Fighters.
Yes,
right.
That was that episode. Our best one. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. 100% before they went all leak citizen. And like I have so much respect for Inforunners, especially Execute in the whole crew. So it's not supposed to be a slight in any way, shape, or form. But what I have to say is with the Inforunners, like, selling your fighters, that was so good. I took that advice. I sold all my fighters. I kept a couple. Like I think I kept like the Freelancer Miss, because I think that one, it's not really a fighter. It's more of a missile boat. I kept the my Super Hornet, which I think is great. And I think I paid like 260 for the Super Hornet, or 265 for the Super Hornet, something like that. And at that time, that was like the second time it came out. And I think originally it was 245 for the first price. But we're talking a long time ago, right? 245 and 260, 265. And for them to release the F8C for 260, that was the price, right?
Yeah, 260 and 300.
Yeah.
And 300.
260 warp on.
I think it's too cheap. So I have to agree with what Griffin, what you were saying, as far as the platinum version, which is if you find a dev out there that is flying, I can't remember exactly what it is, but you defeat the dev in it or something like that, then you get then you win one. I think that's awesome, and that's kind of like that lightsaber moment. Like you find a lightsaber somewhere, you become a Jedi somehow, and you find out the magical combination. That is a great way to do it, to be able to sell it. I was disappointed. That's the exact terminology, that you used there, Paul. But I think that ultimately the price is too little. I think it should be more, because if you can buy a Super Hornet for 260 and you can buy an F8C for 260, is it really?
You're not buying a Super Hornet. Yeah, you're not buying a Super Hornet. Yeah.
So it's too cheap. I know it's F60 for Warbond and 300, which is a big jump between them. I recognize that, and I think CIG probably took that into account. But I would still say 330, 320 is probably the minimum that I would have offered that ship at.
I agree. I'd have to look up what the other heavy fighters are, but I think they're around $300 too, like the Scorpius and the.
Yeah, and if it is that next gen, and the players did hype it up, so maybe it's not all that great in the end. I've flown mine. I cratered it because I'm terrible and I don't play the game very much. But it's
so the Super Hornet is only $180.
Right. It was 165.
Yeah,
it was 165, but then it went 180.
Okay, so I was totally out of the ballpark in that one.
Yeah.
What are other things going for in that range?
The Harbinger. I was going to get to my point, but I was going to say the Harbinger is $290, so it's $10 cheaper than 300, obviously. But yeah.
And then
what do you
Scorpius
think
is $240. So.
Okay. Yeah. So, my understanding is it's a super nimble fighter, right?
It flies like a dream.
Yeah, super nimble.
It doesn't make a lot of sense
for a heavy fighter. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, does it? So, are they going to nerf that?
They will.
Or
I was going to say, you're stealing my answers. After the
Go
go
for it, fast card. Go for it.
No, seriously, are you done?
Yeah, go for it, man.
All right, so yeah, I'm gonna say it's $10 more than the Harbinger. You talk about it being too cheap. It's a single seater. It's a $300 single seater. So I could see them trying to make it, especially in U.S. dollars. 300 for a single seater seems expensive to me anyway. But yeah, so what I'm gonna say, people have been waiting for, especially Wing Commander and Praetorian, have been waiting for years for the F8, and for years and years and years they've been saying that when Squadron 42 releases, that people will be able to earn the F8 Lightning. But that was back when they thought Squadron 42 was going to come out in 2016 or 2014 or 2018. So they didn't anticipate Squadron 42 taking this long to come out. So I can see why they're releasing the F8C now rather than waiting for Squadron 42 to release, because it's been a long time and people have been waiting for it for such a long time. And I got an F8C. I melted a couple of ships to get this $300 on-site credit one. I did not know that once I get one, it'll be unavailable for. I could not get another one. You can only have one per account, even if it's in your buyback, you can only have one, and even if it's in your buyback, it's technically still on your account. So people were expecting like, oh, I can get a fleet of these. Yeah, nope, you can only get one. Even if you get another gold ticket, you won't be able to purchase another one.
I will put a damper on a lot of people. You 100% will be able to get this in-game with in-game cash. Right. I don't care if it's locked or not behind Squadron 42. Right. There is no chance in hell that you will not be able to buy an F8C in-game with in-game money. Right. You may not get it for free, but there's only a handful of ships which will not be available to purchase in-game, and those ships would be available to steal in-game. Mm-hmm. So that's the only thing that will keep and remind people. It's like, you're not going to buy a ship and it's going to be exclusive to you forever. It's eventually it will be available to be purchased in game. So.
And for I make a couple of more things my fear, like they've always said it'll be available once you complete Squadron 42. Mm-hmm. Now over the years I've been worried that maybe they'll change their mind and say that just completing Squadron 42, you have to complete it on hard mode or maybe insane mode, the hardest difficulty, in order to get the FAC Lightning. So in order to, no, CIG had not said anything to that effect. That's just me being fearful or paranoid. So I decided to get one now in case, because there's no way I'll be able to complete that game on insane mode. So yeah, I got the F8C. I flew the rental. I loved it. Seeing all those guns fire at one point, I'm a spray and pray kind of pilot. So whenever a ship has more guns, I can play less. So yeah, the FAC is a great ship for someone like me.
And I will confess that he does spit all over his mic when he's playing. So that is the spray part. I just want you to know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a controversial opinion to say it should be more expensive, because it's also supposed to be this epic level beat stick that's supposed to be happening. But the reality is all ships get nerfed right after they're sold. So 3.21, 3.22, that ship's going to get a whomping. It's gonna get knocked down. Either its engines are gonna get nerfed, or its maneuvering thrusters are gonna get nerfed, or its power plant's gonna get nerfed. Something's gonna happen to put it in line with what they want it to do, and you're gonna see an Ares level scream fest going on when it happens.
And even if that's true, I'm not saying that you're wrong. You probably are correct. Don't melt it, because the game is not complete. So it have ebbs and flows. Like if it gets nerfed now, it might get a buff later.
If you like the idea of a flying turret that can just melt things, the FA's not going to change that. That's always going to be the case. It's always going to be a flying turret that melts things. It just may not be as nimble as you hope. So
flies like an Idris, punches like an Idris, flies like an arrow.
Yeah.
I wish we could have got it a little earlier, though, to just kind of tell people to just hold out, and you have until November 7th to purchase.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
And so if people wanted to wait, because Citizens Con is coming up, they won't feel so much pressure and they can make a better decision about whether that's the ship that they want to spend their money on versus if they bought it now, then something really cool comes up at CitizenCon, then they're vacillating. Should I have a blah,
That's a
blah,
good point.
blah. So just hang in there.
For
gang.
me, I was automatically going to get this ship because I've been waiting for this ship for a long time. It's like my Super Hornet is the closest I can get to a turret, like Paul said, compared to the FAC. So I have the Better Measurement, Endeavor, and FAC. I just haven't talked about it because I didn't think we were going to get it. So the FAC is one of my dream ships.
There you go.
Yeah.
And yeah, it makes sense. It's a single person ship that's really good. Like it's supposed to be good. It is as someone in chat pointed out, it's the F-22 of Star Citizen. It's designed for a very specific role, and it does that role very well. But it will have some downsides, and until they can get more of the balancing factors in, like distance and like logistics support and repairing and refueling, all that, like the detailed parts of those things aren't in yet. They're going to nerf it by just making it worse at points and then fixing it later. So,
A total asking chat. You can't buy the FHC after November 7th. That's what CIG said. November 7th is the deadline.
Yes,
That
you
is
cannot
the
buy
last
it.
day.
I believe you can
and also-
you can unmelt it, but you can't buy it. So, if you melt it,
Well, no, they said if you melt it, if you melt it any time, you can still buy it back from the buyback, even after November 7th. They clarified that. They
What do
said
you think
that.
about what do you think about the annual sale though coming up in December?
oh, you'll be able to buy it in September.
November?
In November.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, November.
Yeah, November. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be
Would
great
it go
if
away
this is
November
like a
7th,
and then you can buy it
one-time thing, but
November
we'll see.
27th?
Fast cart. Do you really think they're not gonna sell the FA?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Like
it would be
money.
nice.
The money goes ching. The credit card goes whoosh. Like that. At this point, it's like I wouldn't be surprised. They might sell it in
they
limited
could hold off to
quantities.
Invictus Week. They could hold off in Invictus Week. They could hold
Like
off in Invictus Week.
they might sell it to give CIG some limited credit. They might sell it in small amounts. So they might say they only
So
sell
limited, like 100 or
250.
whatever, like
Yeah.
limited stock. Yeah. Also, I wanted to clarify. October 21st is the last day to get a golden ticket. So if you haven't participated by then, you won't be able to get a golden ticket. But I'm hoping that they'll be able to allow us the option of having a golden ticket as a flare.
That'd be cool, yeah.
I think that would be nice.
All right, let's move on to the next question. I'm going to pause questions because we're at 28 questions.
I knew it was going to be a 4-hour show. I knew it was going to be.
No, we are not reaching for Nazareth's record. We are not reaching for Nazareth's. Please.
I'll go through some of the quick ones real quickly because I think a lot of people are going to do this. Are there any lessons you hope CIG learns from the F8 event? I mean, yeah, but
That's assuming they think they did something that they needed to learn a lesson from.
I don't think they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the what is it, 5 million they're at right now that they've made off of it since it's
4 million. 4 million.
4 million. I think that's all the lesson they learned was that if they break their promises, they make millions of dollars. So why keep them? Kind of thing. Like Bengal carrier when CIG, just people gonna mortgage their house for that $10,000 Bengal carrier.
No, Paul, the retribution. That's the last promise. That is the last promise at this point.
I mean, like, so yeah, I don't know if there's any, like, the lesson they learned was that that players will buy it. Like the lesson that they learned is the lesson that a lot of players need to learn, which is, remember when it was like no money till pyro, no cash till pyro? Yeah. How'd that go?
How'd that work? Yeah.
How'd that work
Yeah,
out?
that was the conversation we had earlier, right, Griffin?
Yep.
I think our pessimism is being disguised as realism right now.
Yes. I mean, I think that CIG will actually sell the Bengal? No. But do I think CIG will sell the Bengal if they had the opportunity to? Oh yeah. I think that last foreboding thing was the F8. And so, like, if CIG has an opportunity, they'll make it work.
The Bengal will go on sale after Squadron 42 is out.
I don't know if they'll, like, because the actual price
joking.
the actual price you'd have to price the Bengal for is so ridiculously high. Like,
People will buy it.
I know they will, but like,
I hope they keep it to Idris levels.
Yes.
Before,
I don't think
until
so,
orgs get
Sam.
big enough and they've got like org supporting fleets out there and the ability to actually justify going for anything bigger than that as an org ship?
Well, I think CIG.
So,
I think the issue is more CIG also has a problem with gameplay. They said that like looking at the Javelin alone, they're like, we don't know how to make this gameplay fun. We don't know how to make the Javelin fun. And that's why like they pulled back on the size of ships, because they didn't know how many people per server they're going to be able to get. And then they also didn't know how to make that gameplay engaging and, more than just sitting in a turret. And so I think the Javelin is probably the largest ship they'll ever sell. But credit card go whoosh. So
engineering, like how fun can that be? So I get it if I'm an engineer on a small ship and it's like me and my buddy flying around the verse kind of thing. But if, in a hammerhead at that point, you're running around, you're doing certain things, you're maybe a loader, but in a really big ship, when all you're literally doing is carrying one bomb from one tube that it comes out of and moving it via a crane and putting it into another tube, and that's your job. Like, how much fun is that? So, and how do you make that fun?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's going to be a little bit more faceted than that. I'll give you examples, Tim. When the Reclaimer, when they did the stuff with salvage, one of the things that was surprising was that there were people who were excited to go down in the cargo hold and use their tractor beam and stack boxes. And that's all they did. And they were content with that. They weren't saying, hey, when is somebody else going to come down here and start shoveling the coal? You know what I mean? They were actually weirdly enough happy with that. So I think that there are some people who, for example, they may not be great pilots, right? But they want to contribute to help your ship or work together as friends. But they do have to make it engaging. Don't get me wrong. It can get boring. But I think that because there's always something else you can do in the game, like me, with all my ships, a lot of my ships, I don't care about piloting them. I'll be happy to let somebody else pilot the ship. I'm excited to go work in engineering. Believe it or not, that's what I want to do. I want to be the guy that you say, Griff, we got a shield that's down or something's on fire. I'd rather do that than sit in a turret. A turret would be sleepy to me because that's just when an encounter happens. But to run the ship while we're in Quantum, or you guys are going down, a UGF. You go to an underground facility, I'm happy to be the guy that sits up in the ship while you guys are underground, or flies it back in orbit and waits for you to get ready. There are people that like to do some of that stuff that just seems so mundane to other folk. I'm one of those guys,
Griff, it's true. It's true. And, if we know CIG in any way, shape, or form, they'll probably end up making like some utility vest that has like modules and all kinds of things that can make even, even the most boring thing interesting.
And stuff. Yeah.
But I also think that that CIG is cognizant enough to know that there is going to be some level of scale that just becomes bonkers. Like most video game developers I've researched in terms of like doing research on this thing have said that anything above 64 people in a gameplay becomes chaos. It becomes impossible to have fun, because when you start looking at the numbers of like 128, 200, 300, 500 people, a lot of the technology has been available in games for years to have that many people in one area fighting it out. But it just becomes so chaotic that no one's having fun. There is no coordination. It just becomes a giant melee or a giant cluster. Like people aren't talking with one another. It's impossible to coordinate that level of people. So even if you could technically have it, why? And so like it becomes more of a question of like, can they make it interesting to run a Bengal carrier to the point where it can justify selling it for like $50,000 or whatever and bonkers number they would be able to sell it at? And I think the answer to that would be no. And I have enough faith in CIG, just enough to know that like they won't sell it if they don't think they can make it work. Is the one thing I will say. That's the one thing I will say for them. Again, after saying all of that, credit card go whoosh. So CIG, if they feel like they need to make money, will make money. Like
tappa.
Yeah, they'll find ways of making money. If they feel like they're backed in the corner, if they feel like they need it, they're threatened, they will find ways of selling, because it's just what they've done always.
Remember when Paul said that was a quick question?
Yeah,
I'm messing with
you. Right.
That was no. Honestly, that was six.
Ago?
That was 6 questions that we just answered.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That whole thing. So yeah, there's a lot of people asking that question, partially because you mentioned that we haven't talked about the thing, and then everyone asked that. The last question of this whole thing.
My bad.
The last question with the whole thing was, do you think they're going to change the reward ship now that the F8C is being sold?
Ooh.
Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Or maybe F8A, maybe. No, but
you
no, I
repeat the
don't. I don't
I'm
think
not. I ain't guessing no more about what CIG is doing anymore. I've given up that. I've just given up.
Griffin
on
is
that
through.
What reward
God.
ship? Do you think they'll change the reward ship from an F8C to some other ship for completing Squadron?
Oh,
Oh, from
Now
the Squadron. Oh,
Oh, what you thought you were asking?
I thought he meant just in general.
Yeah.
No, I
wasn't
don't think
thinking
that's going to
about
be reward ship, but I think it'll still be the F8C. Or maybe the F8A at that point.
was
but
it
no.
was it
Oh,
a
the-
reward ship or just the ability to fly, the ability to
If I remember
fly
correctly.
one, like be licensed to fly it?
Yeah, it's like
No, according to the video the Griffin had us watch earlier, you will get a F8C for free and on your account for completing Squadron 42.
if I remember, it's bounced back and forth because I've also heard it. I've also remember seeing in like 2018, Chris said you would be able to purchase it in game if you completed Squadron 42. And
Like
it wasn't.
I told you, they were all over the place. They said everything.
Yeah, which means that they have no idea. Like they still don't have any idea. Like that's the answer. It's like if CIG is giving you different answers, it's because they don't know. That's why
If you get a $300 ship
for
it should
free.
be more expensive for free for playing a
$60 game.
$65 game.
Yeah, yeah.
$60 name. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, here's 65, 70, 75. No.
142 is negative 240 free, everybody.
But yeah, I mean that. Yeah, I don't see them changing it. It just.
I don't
Like-
see it. Yeah, I agree.
All right. Next question comes from Steve That Answer, who asks, "What do you expect from the new star map that they'll be showing off at Citcon?" We're pretty sure they are going to be showing it off because of the UI discussions. And I think they specifically say the star map in there. So
Double click will work. It won't break.
I will ask this: have you seen the award-winning? And I always bring this up: the award-winning Arc star map on the website.
Yes.
I expect that.
Of course.
That's what I
So
expect.
good.
You will see your planets in 3D. Remember this, Paul? Second City?
Yes. So yeah, that's what I think.
Do you think that that's going to be on like an MFD in a single ship fighter, or is that going to be something that's in a command and control, like one of those giant rooms, like on the 600i or the Carrack?
¿Por qué no los dos?
Right.
It'll be both. I think they'll remove it from the Mobiglass, though. I think that's the goal, is to remove it from the Mobiglass and have it be a ship-based function, because they want to have a navigator.
I'd like to see it in both. I'd like to see it in the Mobiglass as well, right? So if it's kind of, if you have render to texture, something like that, can't you do it in both a 2D environment as well as a 3D environment? You've got to design both, right?
Yeah. So
Is the Arc Star map currently broken, or is it working now?
it should be working.
It's working.
It was
Okay.
broken for a while, and then we reported it because
I'm just making sure.
there's a
Okay, good.
handful of us, and most of us are in the League of Relic Enthusiasts, so we're insane, who use that map regularly. And when it started breaking, we started reporting it, and finally we managed to get a hold of Jake and be like, "Jake, it's broken," and he's like, "It's not supposed to be broken," or they said that it's not supposed to be broken, and so they talked to the team at CIG, and they actually fixed it. So it's working again.
Cool.
But yeah, I don't know. Other than that symbol, I hope it's better. That's the only thing I can answer. It's like literally anything is better than what we have right now.
And do we want to see? I mean, obviously, we want it to go from Galaxy, because we'll have two systems soonish. Then going down to each system, then going down to like the planet or the area. I don't know if you want to call that a local map. Then going down to, let's say, like a ship, or an underground facility or a building or whatever that area is. And, and if it's going to be the same technology that's going to be, and when we talk about maps, we're talking about almost two types, right? So there's in your ship, and then there's your first person shooter, your FPS, like your mini map, right? And so is it going to be one inclusive, map that just scales like they were hoping to do? And does that include for the FPS? Because I think it would. And then the other part is, would we get nav points and settable nav points that we can interact with in the first version of this next star map, right? Because we have them already. So
last point, I don't think so. I don't think we're going to see nav points. But the thing that I understand,
we have it. So if you set to a moon, you go to the planet first, and then you go over. So will they allow us to do like route plotting?
I think
probably not.
Possibly. The thing is that I'm pretty sure that when we're talking about the star map, we think of it as isolation, but a star map is not star map. It's the star map. It's the new scanning system. It's everything. Like the UI is an entire overhaul of the UI from the ground up, brand new HUDs. There was some crazy stuff in the monthly reports where they were talking about the idea of being able to take MFDs, pull them off of the MFDs, and put them in your visor. So if you wanted to have a specific MFD that deals with like your power management, you could have it in your visor so you could look at it everywhere. Like awesome. Customizable visor stuff. And I was like, am I misreading this? This seems like a lot of work, but of course, this is just like the resource management system. It's an entire overhaul of everything to do with your HUD. It's the completely reworking of it.
It's amazing.
So as a result, like I think the answer is yes, it's all of those things. It's the FPS map, it's all the way up to the scale, but I don't know. I think there'll probably be different things, but only in sort of practice. Like because if you could put a map on your HUD on your visor, you can just throw that up there. Like, hey, I'm going in FPS mode. I'm going to take this MFD, throw it up on my visor, and head out. Kind of thing. So I don't know. What do y'all think? What do you think we're going to see with the map at Citcon?
They've been talking about the 3D map for a while. I mean, I think that's one of the things we will see because we saw that quite a while ago when they gave us that new holographic look of everything. And people have been crying about it forever. I think I didn't think about that earlier, but yeah, I think the map is something we're going to get a 321, or once again when we get to 4.0, because again that tech jump for 4.0 says that would be the perfect time for us to get that. Yeah.
Fastcart?
I agree. I don't have anything better to that. I don't even have a bad joke to make.
All right. Well,
your jokes are good, Fastcart.
We've got a couple of rapid fire ones. New character creator, Beards? I hope so. Beards in the new character creator. I hope.
I don't know. Is that nice? How easy are Beards to do in video games? Is that easy?
They're easier to do than a lot of hair stuff, because like the problem with hair is that hair clips into everything. So like longer hair will clip into clothing and stuff like that, and hair has a specific way you have to render it. I just watched an entire video where some actual VFX professional who does like critiques of different things was breaking down why the episode 1, 2, and 3 of Star Wars look like video games and were even being compared to video games at the time they were released. And he was explaining it's just like because hair physics sucks. Like modeling hair is a nightmare because it's just hard to do. Cloth physics are easier to do, but even then you lose a lot of detail and definition and like shadows and all sorts of things. And so one of the things he said was just like hair is just no, you can't. It's just so hard to do. And
I'm just hoping. Oh, go ahead.
So as a result, I think beards, because they're generally shorter, are a lot easier to render and kind of to model than, because there's not like if I do this, I'm not going to see a ton of movement. But even with my longer beard right now, which is usually a little bit shorter, compared to my hair, where if I do that, like you can see like the cascade of my hair, like that simulation alone would be a fucking nightmare. Like this would be 2 FPS in Star Citizen if a character could do this.
So you're assuming there isn't going to be like Viking and Dwarven level beards.
Yeah, but even with those Dwarven level beards, like those like epic beards, they're usually like braided or they're usually like stiffer. Yeah. So like they don't like, you're not going to like play around with them like I can I can just pull my hair up like this. You're not going to be able to do that with your beard. So your beard won't necessarily do that in game when you're moving around. So.
But you'd still have to like lift it up when you put your helmet down.
Your helmet down, yeah, that's true.
So question:
you have to shave your beard to be able to put your helmet on.
So question: if we get Brian Chambers' hair in the game, would I just crash the server?
Oh,
Yes. Yes. Whoosh.
No, so my real
30K
answer is,
hair.
I'm hoping that we will actually get the spot goatee, so we can have a mirror universe
Perfect.
of ourselves. It's not a full on beard. At least give us the goatee to work with.
Yeah. All right. The next question is, which comes first, Pyro or the Aaron Halo gates?
Ooh.
For those of you who don't know, the Aaron Halo. So the Aaron Halo is not supposed to be just kind of like a belt. It's supposed to be thicker, and it's supposed to be difficult to travel through it. So they have these gates where you can go to, and they're clear out the debris, so you don't have to try to pick your way through it. But you're not supposed to be able to quantum from one point to another unless you go around it, and it just takes a lot longer. It's so big, the Aaron Halo is, that it takes a lot longer to navigate around it or through it than it is just to go to a gate and go through it.
and what system
Paul.
is it in?
It's not big, Paul. It's just
Stanton.
thick. It's just thick.
It is thick, yes, it is thick, but it's Stanton. It's between Stanton 1, it's between Stanton 2 and Stanton 3. It's where you can actually get to it now, because it's where a lot of miners will go to. If you drop out at the right point in quantum, you'll drop right into the Aaron Halo.
Yep. So we're doing all our mining at.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. I mean, that could be a surprise reveal at CitizenCon.
They were trying to do a lot of work with specifically how like asteroids work, and because it's literally just a spot where they built these giant walls that they're blocking a route through the Halo, the Aaron Halo, and there's like a little station that's nearby it, kind of like a jump point almost.
Well, with the recent sort of, I shouldn't say really recent, but with the last 2-3 years, like the huge move towards gameplay for existing players, and that focus on quality of life and gameplay, that could be an expansive area for gameplay development. Caves on asteroids would be incredible, but
I think Pyro, only because I think that requires the new quantum system to work, and the new quantum system, which would force you out of quantum before you get to the Aaron Halo belts. So, like, you need to have gameplay for it before it exists, and the gameplay doesn't exist for it. I don't think.
Do we know anything about the new quantum system and how it works, or are we totally all in the dark about it?
We have a little bit. Most of the information we know is just that it pulls you out of quantum more frequently. It's going to stop you from at larger objects, and because of the new quantum cruise mode, you can go in one direction in a straight line for like 25 or 30K quantum speed. Get you dropped out. You just kind of push a button, you go into quantum like you normally would, and then you release it and you'll drop. So
okay, right. So it's kind of like Super Cruise in Elite Dangerous.
Yes, it is Star Citizen's version of Super Cruise, but it's shorter spurts, and you'll need to have that to be able to have, like, getting around areas. So, but it reduces the travel time too, because you can do it in atmosphere and such. So,
but it sounds like you might not have to have a nav beacon selected, so you could fly in any direction.
You can fly in any direction, but only for a short spurt. So, what are the no-nos or pitfalls of going to CitizenCon that first-timers should heed, other than lack of hygiene in personal space? Yes, shower, deodorant. Go ahead, fast start.
I was going to say, make sure your ID is up to date. You don't want to show up to the airport and have an expired ID or driver's license. Make sure you have enough money, because the Bar Citizen venue, Griffin, we talked about this on Thursday on Soul Talk. The Bar Citizen venue at I think it's called the Yard. They have $50 plates there. So yeah, the cheapest is like $10 or $15. So yeah,
it's California prices.
Cash extra.
Yeah. Like, and McDonald's costs like $15. So
not really, but
oh yeah. Wait till you get there, buddy. I guarantee it's gonna be $12 to $13 for a meal.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
It's like
okay.
Like, well, it might be $10, but like, yeah, but
it's $10. It's $10 in Chicago. I'm telling you, it's gonna be higher in LA.
All right. Yeah, so make sure you bring enough money.
Look at Zombie Pig. He said, "Yep." He lives there.
If you're staying in the hotel or motel, make sure that you keep it clean. Otherwise, they'll charge you extra when you check out. That's just the top of my head. Anyone else got anything?
to talk about your ID one, don't forget to bring your ID when you check in at CitizenCon 2
Yes.
with your ticket. So make sure you have a valid ID of some form with you when you come, just in case there's some complication as well. Because tickets are non-transferable, so please make sure you're aware of that.
Oh no,
For the VIP party. For the VIP
yeah,
party.
for the VIP, for CitizenCon itself at the LA Convention Center, as long as you have a ticket, it's okay. But you do have to have your ID matching the name for the VIP party on Sunday.
Yeah. And I do believe that like last year they had the or the 2018 they had your real name on your ID, and that was a no for me. I had to had to block it out because I don't want to get doxxed. So maybe bring little stickers if you can to just cover up your real name if they have it on that. So
Oh, and you cannot bring food or drink to the convention center.
No.
So they will have food venues inside that you can buy from, but those are going to cost an arm and a leg too. So, like I said, bring money. But yeah, you can't bring money. You can't. They will check your bag.
And do your due diligence too. There are other, like Fast Card said, there are places that surround the convention center where you can go grab a bite to eat if you want to, either on your way there or on your way back, breakfast, things like that. But I think it is a good point to know that California is an expensive trip, not just to get there, but things cost a little bit, so just be prepared for a little sticker shock if you're not used to it. So
there's a lunch break at 2 p.m. on both Saturday and Sunday. Use your time wisely.
Having Uber and Lyft as an apps on your phone will help you out a lot as well, because it's just easier to get around. Be prepared, especially for LA. Traffic sucks. Trying to get anywhere between.
Yes. Oh my God.
They try to get anywhere between.
Yeah,
anywhere between 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. is just, it's gonna take you an hour to get there. Even if it's even if your trip app tells you it's gonna take you 10 minutes, budget an hour.
It is good that they do have a lot of venues or restaurants around the convention center, so a lot of stuff are in walking distance, so you can avoid traffic that way. And not just have your driver's license and ID up to date. Make sure your debit card or credit card is not expiring.
Not about to expire. Yeah. Are there a lot of slubs at LAX? No, it's a huge piece of shit. But it's a huge airport. So
I personally will be wearing masks most of the time I'm there, so I'll make you have an extra mask.
SolCitizens is a group of individuals, including Griff Gaming RPG and Fastcart and others, who do their own shows. So I put their tag in the title and in the description, because it's just easier than trying to tag Fastcart, Griffin, and SimCitizen. So I just did the Yacht Club and SolCitizens, because it's just like, So,
who are these weird guys? What are these old guys talking about?
Where's SolCitizens? All right.
What are you calling old? I don't see any gray hair. Do you?
You got us
there. So this is another one. If you're flying to LAX, try to take a taxi from LA exit rather than an Uber or Lyft. It's much faster and will save you a lot of time. Very good to know. But are they cash only?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. What'd you say?
I say, Nick, are they cash only? Is the only question I have, because a lot of people use Uber and Lyft because they're cashless. So
dealing with cash, yeah.
Oh,
and by the way, let's share this with you guys too. Regardless of the fact that it's 2 days, CitizenCon is a long day event. The doors open at 9 a.m. Pacific time. If you get up at 6:37 in the morning, you decide to get eat breakfast somewhere beforehand. If you get there on time early to get in line, don't be surprised if, even though the venue's doors are closing at 6:30 or 7, I forget, you may not get back to your hotel that night till 1 or 2 in the morning, and then be prepared to spin back around and come back the next day. So, there will be gatherings. There will be people who will be meeting at other local bars or venues to hang out afterward, and you probably will want to, even though it's a very long day. So pace yourself. When we've gone before, some folks literally stayed up until the next day and had breakfast together. So just be aware that it is a long day. You will have some gaps in there and stuff, but when your day starts that morning, you're guaranteed to get back to your hotel 9 o'clock at the earliest, or I shouldn't say that, maybe 8 o'clock at the earliest, and maybe as late as midnight or 1 in the morning. So just be prepared for 2 long days for the event.
Wear comfy shoes. Don't wear your
Yes.
fancy shoes. Wear
Yeah.
comfy shoes.
Yeah, pace yourself is huge.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you're worried about not having cash, you can get gift cards for Uber. You put that on some kind of plan or whatever to for Uber. So they do allow that too.
Oh, let's talk about interactions. One of the benefits of going to CitizenCon is that you actually get the people that we get to see on screen every week. Many of the developers are there. Chris and Sandy are there. Disco's there. Xylo. All the community managers are there. And they are very open and friendly to meet and talk with you during the event and after, especially after or before the event. But be conscious of the fact that more than likely, if you're standing there waiting to talk to Xylo, there's somebody standing behind you that's also waiting to talk to Xylo. So, get in, say what you got to say, land the plane and move on, because other people need those opportunities because they've traveled just like you have to get to see and meet these people. And they spend a good amount of time talking with you. They don't have little frivolous, oh, hi, it's nice to meet you, and that's it. They'll ask about you, talk about you, what brought you here. You'll get opportunities to meet, especially if you go to the Bar Citizens. They do faithfully kind of turn up to those. We'll have to see how it is this year because it's a little bit different. But you'll get opportunities to talk to them at the Bar Citizen and during the event. So just enjoy the fact that if you see Brian Chambers, don't get too starstruck. If you want to take a photo with them, they'll do selfies with you, things of that nature. But be courteous to other folks because there's only so many of them and there are literally thousands of us. So we can give them time.
I never been to the LA Convention Center, so I don't know how it is, but the connectivity there may be spotty because there's going to be so many people there.
Yes.
And we won't be the only convention there on Saturday. We will be the only one there Sunday. So be prepared to have spotty connections on your phone.
Yeah.
And just so you guys will know, Fastcar's telling you that because they told us that CIG is not providing. In other words, they didn't pay for internet service in that building. So it may be good. It may be good. Your cell phone may work just fine.
We don't know.
But just in case, maybe when you get outside in the market area, you can get internet, but when you get where the theater is, it's not so great. So just be aware of that.
Yep. There's also a couple of things like ask cosplayers. The same thing with developers. The same thing with with I think you already said that with content creators. I am overwhelmed by the number of people who've said, I'm going to see you at CitizenCon because I'm like, I'm not used to this. This is not something I'm used to. I constantly tell this, but I am alone in a room. My wife is downstairs, but I'm in a house.
She comes and feeds you occasionally though, right?
No, I have to feed myself. I have to fend for myself. I have to stab the rat that comes through my place for my sustenance. But my point is like for me, Tuesdays or Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, I come in here alone, boot up my computer, talk to a screen, and hear people's voices through my headsets. And sometimes I get to see the videos of them. So like for me, that's who I am. Going to CitizenCon with possibly 5,000 people there, with any number of those people wanting to see me, like my mind does not function on that level. So just note that some people might be a little overwhelmed by the number of people who want to see them, even if or otherwise. So if you recognize somebody, just remember that like that person doesn't know who you are.
Listen, go up to Paul with your marker and ask him to sign your chest. That's what you got to do when you see him, okay? Ask him to sign your chest.
Be prepared to lose your voice by the end of the day, especially on Sunday, because that'll be the second day. So yeah, be prepared to lose your voice, because that's happened to me at PAX East. So I hate when that happens, but yeah.
Well, and Paul's allergic to bras, so whatever you do, don't throw your bra at him.
You want to get me in trouble with my wife. That's what you're trying to do. I will take your jock straps, though. Jock straps are fun, so you can throw those out.
Oh, my God.
But what I was going to say, so someone mentioned cosplay. Cosplayers love the fact that you recognize their cosplay. They're really happy for you. I guarantee you, if you walk up to Diabolus in full cosplay and ask to take a picture with him, he will love for you to take a picture with him. Most of those folks, like... why am I blanking on all their names? There's so many like legends in the community who are cosplaying.
Director Gunner, a lot of those folks that'll come in. They'll come in with that.
They'll love to take pictures with you. Just make sure you ask them. Don't just walk up and take pictures of them. Don't just walk up and tap them. Yeah.
Yes.
My God, that's a good one.
No hate. No hate to your most hated streamers either. Don't be throwing no hate at them. You can cut your eyes at them if you want, but don't Don't get
Just-
any serious.
Just remember
crazy
the
debates.
streamers that you dislike what they're saying, just remember they're passionate about the project. Otherwise they wouldn't be there. No matter how salty they are, they're
Or how
still
white
here
knight they are. You know.
There you go.
Yeah,
There
they're
you go.
passionate about the project, and that's what we need right now. And people have different opinions. That's just the way it is.
Diablos make a great point. Do not stop people in the bathroom, okay, in the restroom.
Yeah.
If you see a content creator that you really like, don't be that person.
No.
When you see Paul in the bathroom, get some toilet paper and say, "Paul, would you sign this with my marker?" Make sure you do that again, too.
You are worse than all of my chat. So many people are going to walk up to me and say, "Can you write Redeemer as my favorite ship on my back?"
That reminds me of the Wendy joke.
Sir, this is a Wendy's? What? No.
No, I can't tell that joke on stream, but if you find
Okay.
me on CitizenCon, ask me about the Wendy.
Oh my God. Paul's going to be like the high karate commercial. Remember the high karate where the women would come up to him because they smelled the cologne and he'd
Yeah.
go into martial arts and start beating everybody up? That's going to be Paul at the convention, you know, breaking into martial arts.
God. See Daddy CIG, who is a CIG member, will say, "I will pee on you if you stop me going to the bathroom." Okay, I think I'm gonna. Jade Star Watcher asked, "What would absolutely shock you?" I think we already covered that topic.
No, we did that. Free video card from masseuse.
Yes.
Wait a minute, but let's talk just real quick. Paul, there was a year where they gave out cards, remember?
It was for very specific.
Yeah, but not to everybody.
That's true,
I know,
yeah.
no, not to everybody, but I'm saying they gave out quite a few. They gave out quite a few cards.
The
That was
Octane,
an under the seat
Octane
thing.
Drive.
No,
Yeah,
not the
the Optane drive.
Optanes. Was it the Optanes?
Yes, it was
Yeah,
that.
they did
the
do some
Octane.
Optanes.
That's
yeah.
right. They gave them out.
Yeah.
That's right. They gave them out. But
They-
I'm not
they-
talking about 2 or 3. They had a stack of cards. There's a
Oh,
bunch
yeah.
of them they gave out.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
like a ticket under a chair or something.
It's
like
the
that.
only reason why I have an Optane is because Diablos won one for his the cosplay contest, and he's like, "I already have an Optane, but I don't need an Optane because I got plenty of stuff, but I want the
Nice.
Raven, so I'll keep the Raven, you keep the Optane." I'm like, "I'll take the
Nice.
Optane." It's in my
Nice.
ship, my computer right now. It still runs for the.
I
video.
still got mine.
I would have taken the Raven.
I've still got mine.
Ditto. I run. That's the drive I use for Star Citizen. It's like
I'm the only one without one. Great.
All right, so there's 2 questions about tractor beams. First off, how do you think will tractor beams change the game you play now? And what will you do to break the rules of tractor beams when you can do it? I'm going to try to tractor beam.
Diabolus is calling you out, saying you also got the Raven.
Did I also get the Raven? I didn't. I thought you got the Raven, Diabolus. I never got the Raven. I don't have it in my
He says
account.
you gave it away.
You gave it away.
Oh, I gave
He
it
didn't
away.
use the code.
Yeah.
He threw the code sheet in the garbage. He threw the code sheet in the garbage.
I gave it away. That does make sense. I remember the original deal was I'll keep the Raven, but I think Diabolus also got the Optane drive while he was there. So
Nice work, Diabolus.
So you're asking about tractor beams?
yeah, what would you do to break the tractor beams? What are you gonna do with tractor beams? What are you gonna do to break them? My answer is I'm gonna try to tractor beam ships that are tractor beaming ships that are tractor beaming ships.
Ooh.
Tractor beaming SRV that's tractor beaming an SRV that's tractor beaming an SRV. Just have them turn off their engines and their shields and see if you can tractor beam do a chain.
Do you think CIG's prepared for that yet?
No.
Have we done anyone? Can you tractor another person?
When they're unconscious.
When they're
Not supposed
unconscious.
to.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
but you can't normally.
No.
When they're standing up. Okay.
No. I'm going to look forward to those opportunities where we get to, and I'm more of a role player, so for me to do it just for the sake of science isn't always there. But I do want to do it where, like, if you get a ship where you get a call, say, we're actually loaded too heavy on a planet, we need help to get out of atmosphere, where you're using them more like a tugboat, where 3 or 4 of them are attached to like a reclaimer or something, trying to get it out of atmosphere. I would love to try that.
I said
Okay,
it
so-
already, but I just want to cross the stream. That's all.
So
Had to be said.
Jeremy, who is one of the writers at CIG, is in my YouTube chat. He's being like, "Are we talking about CitizenCon? You have to tell me. Are we having a lore panel? Because there's no lore panel that's referenced. Is this one of those things secretly a lore panel? I need to know." Yeah.
Paul, did you notice on the schedule? Let me see if I can get it up.
It's called like the Outlaw Life and something like that. It's like Life
Yeah,
on the
that,
Edge.
that one's kind of lore
between
based.
4 p.m. At 4 p.m. they have Navigating the Universe on Saturday, and then after that they have that big huge gap between supposedly 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's blank.
Yeah.
What do you think that means?
Oh, yeah,
they're just gonna hang
spot.
around. They're just gonna hang around have people hang around the floor. I think it's just time for people to hang out at the booths. And stuff.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Before the venue closes.
Because we only get the like the lunch break and the time before for the booth, right? So that's not enough time for exhibitors to find value in having people there. So you've got to have some time for the booth and for other just general discussion. Otherwise, I mean, these panels are an hour. Each one of those panels could probably be 6 hours long in terms of the content. So they're going to be slamming them down into, let's say, 50-minute sessions. So let's say you get 5 to 10 minutes in order to go to the bathroom and come back to your seat. I mean, there's going to be no time between panels. I doubt that a panel is going to leave 15 minutes between. You know, like if you're going to have to drop the kids off at the pool at any point during it, you're going to be missing panel time, like 100%. There's going to be it's going to be back to back, so they need time for the trade show.
And Jay, be to the point. This is the question that we talked about on Thursday. But Jake Acapella said that's actually a typo. There should not be that the gap on the panel that what do you call it? The graphic should not be there. So that is a typo.
Okay. Sorry, I'm also talking about since Jeremy's going to be there. I might have to corner him and be like, "Hey, I want to ask you lore questions on camera. please let me talk."
It'll be a trivia event.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of questions I got to ask about, like the Tavaran or the Ninetails or the Dusters or any of the other like the lore stuff that I need to know about. Like why are the Xenothreats still going after Stanton? Like what's going on there? You know, what happened to the original settlers of the Stanton system? You know, asking the important questions.
What if the first answer to your first question is, some questions are best left unasked, Paul?
It's just going to be, that's what's going to be most of the case, is that I can't tell you. This is going to be, you know.
You'll find out.
Yeah, you'll find out eventually. My questions are important questions. Yes, Buster. Yes, Buster. Will we get the thickness? When are we getting the thick booty for? But I don't think Jeremy can answer the cake question. Will we give the male models cake?
What about when are we getting rope gameplay in the game? Right.
Yes,
that's an important question. At least for Buster, I believe.
All right, let's move on to the next question. We got a lot of them left to go, but we're now down to under 15 questions. Here's another
jam it about like in 15, 20 minutes. Something like
all right,
that.
let's go.
Okay.
I'll start dropping stuff. Will we see pizza in Squadron 42? Yes. I think so.
Sure.
I mean, I've not even a joke. Like I've asked Jake seriously about this, and he's like, "It's."
But we need some deep dish, not just New York style. Deep dish, Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Detroit, Chicago.
Well, they're waiting for Actor Status 2.0, which allows for multiple bites. That's what they're answering. So
cool.
How much cake should CIG bake if CIG could bake a man's cake? Triple decker. All right. I want stopping traffic with that levels of booty.
Are we talking fake fondant cakes like for weddings?
No, we're talking like the thickest of wedding cakes, like pound cakes. Yes. Give me some real pound cake.
Pound cake, some bad.
A real pound. Okay.
Pound cake.
Buster also asks, who besides me are you most excited to run into? Dev, content creator, or community member? It was a funny question because I was going to say Jeremy or any of the other lore team members. I was going to talk to about it because like that. Those are ones I wanted to talk to about things. So, what about you, Griffin? Is there anyone you're excited to run into?
The community.
Just a community in general?
Yeah. I mean, I've met a lot of the faces before, and don't get me wrong, it's always nice to say hi and see Jarrett. I do have a gift for Jarrett. Jarrett called us. Well, I shouldn't say it, but we have a gift for Jarrett. Let's just say that.
Yeah, we have a gift for Jarrett.
But I mean, other than, and we know at some point we're going to see them, but just to be able to meet people and put faces with all these beautiful names that are in chat, I'm looking forward to that.
Stim, what do you think? What are you looking
Absolutely the same. From being able to co-host the virtual Bar Citizens with SolCitizens with Griffin and Fastcart. It's been an amazing experience to get a chance to meet so many different citizens and see some of their faces and put some faces to names that you see in the community. So for me, yes, that is the biggest part, is to meet different community members. There's a couple of content creators I'd like to meet as well. Not for the first time, because I've seen them, like just people to connect with and have more in-depth discussions about different content points and what they do with their setups and how they do the content. But it's just general discussion and friendship and reconnecting. So it's really about, and there's some CIG members that I wouldn't mind chatting with as well, but I wouldn't say there's anyone in particular that I'm looking forward to meet and to see, because there's so many of them. So it's.
I also
I know it's kind of a vanilla answer, but it's like an all of the above answer.
I'm going to cut in real quickly. Division, if you're asking a question, I can't see it. I didn't see what question you asked, so ask it again in chat if you didn't. Go ahead, Fastcart.
Okay. All right. So they gave great answers when it came to community. I gave a similar answer in the first hour of the captain table. So I'm going to add to that. I'm looking forward to meeting Justin Chambers, because I've never met him. Been to quite a few Citizen Cons. I've never been able to meet him. So I'm hoping to see Justin Chambers. So Justin Chambers, I hope you'll be there. We're going to hang out.
All right, so Jin answered a question that you had about what was going on. It's for the whole sea and and other things like that, the station stuff, but that was one of them. Yeah, I'm gonna mark some of those down. What is the possibility 4.0 includes the other two systems, Terra and Magnus?
Oh,
very low. We haven't seen any discussion about them working on Terra or Magnus outside of lore stuff. They have, the lore team has been talking about it, but we haven't seen any planetary tech team talk about it. So
doesn't mean it couldn't happen.
I gotta say,
I could be king.
I was just saying it's not likely.
No, I could be crowned king of England tomorrow, but that's very unlikely.
Paul would fall out and we'd have to give him, resuscitate him and everything if they drop 3 systems. I would
be very happy. I would be very happy, but at the same time, I don't see it.
It's a possibility I could be mistaken for STEM citizen, but the likelihood. But we got you to laugh.
We have the same haircut.
Similar.
Close. All right. Okay, so now we've got. Yes, the question was, do you think there's going to be put something significant in that hole in the schedule for Saturday afternoon? It's apparently it's a misprint. I don't know what that means, but I do think that it's also them budgeting time for delays could also be the case too, because they could, but there is no budget time for Sunday, which is why it's like I don't know what's going on. So, that's not a question, but it basically said it's the question the division asked was like similar to the thing. It's basically said like zip. It's a misprint, and then when they asked why, he said zip, and they said, so what's y'all's tinfoil hat theories on what that could be? It could be if they talked about Squadron 42 stuff in that time period, which is my big tinfoil hat theory about Star Citizen being very squad. I would be ecstatic. Like that would be great. I'd love to hear more about Squadron 42. If they announced the release date of Squadron 42 in day one in one of those time periods, or they had a big demo of the game or something like that, I would be over the moon. But I am not expecting anything right now.
I will see your tinfoil hat and raise you until they learn their lesson from, because I think originally they had the Squadron 42 panel right there, but they took it out because they learned their lesson from 2016.
That could be too, yeah. Like that they had the plan, they're planning on it, but they've taken it out for right now because they don't know if it'll actually make it to the last minute.
Like I said, I don't know anything. I'm not in the know. That's just tinfoil hat.
All right, so I've knocked it down for a little bit more. I'm going to reject a couple more questions here just to make sure we have this. We've already talked about that, about the secret area. So, all right. Okay, we've already talked about Big Black Gaming asked basically the same question, which was, do you think we're going to see what's with the stations? Do you think we're going to see Magnus and Terra in the game? And I think we already answered that. So 5 questions left. Zarek
Okay,
Masters
Paul,
asks,
you got to make this last for 39 minutes to make it 4 hours. Go ahead.
no, because Tim's got to go in like 10 minutes. So, yeah. Zarek Masters asks, do you think the removal of the shop inventories and prices from the client side is for preparation of the quantum economy? Probably. But haven't the prices been removed from the client side for patches now? It's been universal patches for a while. Like, I don't think it's been recent. It's been like that for a while. They moved it to a back-end service. So.
Fire said this patch.
Was it this patch? That seems weird.
That's what
I thought it was like that in 319. Maybe it wasn't.
Commodities were maybe it's like the like shop
Two people said
inventories.
this patch.
They're saying 320. They're saying 320.
Yeah, maybe it was shop inventories, and I'm confusing that with commodities because commodities definitely have been on its own service for a while.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's all theories until we get there. So. All right. So VidBlitz asks, if the replication layer testing comes in 3.21 in the very near future, how significant do you think it would be for around the corner pyro drop?
You broke up on Discord.
Yeah, you broke up.
You broke up one after how significant.
So how significant do you think it would be for around the corner pyro drop if they got the replication layer testing coming in 3.21?
How significant? I mean, I'm not sure how to answer that question.
Replication layer? I missed that part.
So the question is like basically with the replication layer, the separating of the replication layer from the DGS and moving it onto its own shard-based kind of thing, which is what they're going to be doing with 3.21. Does that mean that Pyro is just around the corner?
I don't know if it's tied to Pyro like that. I mean, that's about the backup services for when we crash and stuff that you come back and the system server just replicating itself and instantly giving the stuff back to you so you don't get kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
But they've kind of told us that Pyro is not, and I correct me if I'm wrong, Paul. They've said that Pyro is not tied into the server meshing stuff at all. So
they have actually said that it is connected to the server meshing stuff. Pyro and server meshing are inextricably linked.
I thought they said that they could put Pyro out without server meshing. Did I get that wrong?
They said server meshing and jump points are two separate issues.
Oh, and jump points.
Yes.
Oh, I thought they was okay. All right.
Yes, and there's been a lot of miscommunication about that because a lot of people have said that they think that means that Pyro can be added in without it, but the reality is that Pyro is 3 times the size of Stanton.
Right. Right.
And Stanton, they struggle to add Stanton, to put stuff in at Stanton size, and there are more planets and moons in the Pyro system than there are in Stanton.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't add something that's 3 times the size and more content while also adding it on top of everything that's in Stanton in one server. Okay. So, and separating it to a point of login servers is so pointless that it's like the work to do that is so much more than it would just be to work on the server meshing and have it actually work the way it's supposed to work in the first place.
So that explains why I heard people saying, could they give it to us without the jump points? That's what they were referring to there.
Yes.
Okay.
And
that makes sense then.
And I think the actual thing they're talking about is that the idea of jump points and server meshing are 2 separate concepts, because you can have, and they even showed off an image while they were talking about it, which shows a kind of a little napkin sketch of what happens if you have Stanton, Pyro, and interspace, the jump point.
Right.
And you have a cutoff point at Stanton and the jump point, and a cutoff point at the jump point in Pyro, or could you put it right in the middle so you have part of that
overlap, right?
It's a part of that jump point is controlled by Stanton and part of it is by Pyro. What if you just did all of the jump point is controlled by the Pyro server and none of it's controlled by the Stanton server? And I think that's what they were talking about. Is just like how it's treated in terms of the game is the question, rather than its in terms of the gameplay backend, rather than its like actual functions. So.
Okay.
Yeah. It's something I've had to talk a lot about because a lot of people are like, they're going to put in Pyro without a jump point, it's like, no, I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay, so they're tied together. Okay.
Yeah. Now the replication layer is important only because it helps connect information. Anything you do in one server will transfer over to another server, and it is the prerequisite for server meshing, but it is not like it doesn't have anything connected directly to server meshing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and what we're getting is static, right, first, and then dynamic.
Yes, that's for server meshing. And static is just it's just like a hard boundary, and then dynamic over time. All right. So does it mean it's coming in the near future? Personally, I would say yes and no, but it's CIG near, which is it's variable.
I agree with that part.
Anything could happen.
And that is anywhere between 3 months and 3 years. So your mileage may vary. Zarek Masters asks, in the mission SCL, they showed a dev using unit mode or unlit mode. Why can't CIG just have us unlit mode with the green filter as a temporary night vision? Big quality of life if they have anything about this. Have they said anything about this? No, but I think it's because the HUD's completely being reworked. There's no point in adding a night vision mode if the entire HUD doesn't function the way you think it's supposed to function. So
I thought for some reason they said no to night vision. Are they are going to do that?
I haven't remembered them out openly saying no, but I do know that they are hesitant to add night vision and thermal in because they fear it would be too much of an advantage.
Right. That's what I thought. That's what I thought it was. Yeah. Okay.
But
like I said, maybe it was that they were reluctant versus no. Maybe that's what. But I know I heard something like no. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put it this way: night vision and thermal vision will be available once Squadron 42 is out.
I almost can guarantee you it's going to be in Squadron. Like,
okay.
Well, if you think about it, it's a military game.
Yeah,
why wouldn't you have access to night vision in the military? And it's also single player, so it's not as like this isn't a leak thing. This is just a me being like logically speaking,
injecting logically.
Yeah. Like every military shooter I've ever played has had some form of night vision somewhere in it. So,
you got 4 minutes left for STEM.
All right.
I'm literally melting.
Okay. I'm Caffeine Fiend said, since we have cloning, do you see hospitals being rarer? I thought cloning was made extremely cheap comparatively. Nope. Do you see resource limitations being what limits respawn ability? So it's not cloning. Anyone who calls it cloning is wrong because it's respawn. Right. I hate to do the lore thing, but actually, but it's important.
Oh my god!
Actually, it's an important differentiation because you can't just clone infinite numbers of yourself. It's a complicated process that I'm not going to go over because we don't have enough time. But yes, the idea is that CIG doesn't want you to just respawn a bunch. They want you to use the medical system. And
do they have like a degradation of the DNA? Is that
they do
kind of how it works?
Yeah,
it's not really a degradation of DNA. It's more metal than that.
Trauma.
It's literally giving yourself PTSD every single time you respawn.
Right.
To the point where your brain stops recognizing you have a hand. So the nerve endings do not work. The things that control your hand just will refuse to function because your brain's convinced your arm has been lopped off.
So there's no total recall, and they can't erase memory back a little while and stuff like that.
No.
So if I have a hand that doesn't work, never mind.
Please don't.
So the idea being that they're definitely going to try to limit the amount of players because they don't want players just spawning in at a spawn point and just being able to be like, yep, let's get right back into the fight. There's going to be some consequences for death beyond just you got to respawn somewhere because there's just no way. It's just gameplay wise. Like even in WoW, I had to run back to my dead body. That ghost walk. There's some balance that's going to happen. But what do you think there, Stim?
Yeah, I think the whole death of a spaceman kind of aspect is it's important that they get this right, and I think that it's not going to be just a bunch of clones sitting around. So really, there's the this is. I'm not someone that's going to be doing a ton of combat. I'm a bit of a Care Bear the way I play, and it's because I don't have enough time to put into the game. So I'm not going to be good. There's going to be people out there. Everybody else is going to be gooder than I am, and I use that term on purpose because they're going to be so much better than I am at playing, first person shooter. I mean, right now I get in the game, I can't even put the clip inside the weapon in order to shoot it. So So when it comes time to shoot, it's going to be, turn and burn, shields to the back, all the power to thrusters and shields. There's going to be no power to the weapons. So for me, I'm happy with the way it's going to work, but I'll be turning tail and running in my hauling machine as opposed to trying to stick around for the fight.
Fast Cart?
I'm going to bow to STEM and your expertise on that one. So, yeah.
Griff?
What was the question again?
Well,
Are they gonna force you to not respawn as much? Are they gonna try to limit your respawn?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think the lore that they've, there's been a tweak to the lore since the original Death of a Spaceman thing, and I think it's going to get probably refined a little bit more than what it is. But I have no how they're going to bear out how many times you can come back versus you can't. Whether how drastic the trauma is to you. Maybe you can only come back 3 times. Maybe if the trauma's not so bad, you come back 5. Then there's the cybernetics that they add to you. I mean, there's all types of stuff that could vary on coming in and out. But I think that the whole thing of life, risk versus reward, people are going to value their lives a lot more, especially because of reputation and where you even die at can mean something. If you die 12 systems away from where all your stuff is, there's a lot of variables that are going to make people not be more cautious, but definitely be much more aware of their decision making in the game and whether something's worth doing, whether that's going out on a mission with friends or going after somebody. You're going to have to really be thinking about that later on, because otherwise the price could be pretty heavy, especially if it happens to be your last life and you didn't know it.
Mm-hmm.
I know STEM has to go, but I will say that Chris Roberts did make an example of spawning 3 times, but that was just an example. We don't know if it's maybe 2 for some people or maybe 4 to other people. So
It could be 100.
Did say 3 at one point. Yeah.
Yeah. Stim, if you had to go, you got to go. This is the last question from Jeremy.
I can stick for one more.
The CIG dev, who says, "What is your favorite in-fiction org?" This is the last one. So
What?
you don't really know about them?
Your
It's like the West
favorite.
Society or the Bounty Hunters Guild or
I'm
any of
curious
those?
about those guys, the gang that's in Pyro, the guys that are like the assassins. I can't think of their names. They got the real big, bulky
the Enforcers, I think.
armor.
No.
Yeah, those guys, whoever those guys
Yeah, I think
are.
that's
They
it.
got one armor you can buy as their armor in the store. But I'm curious about those guys. Supposedly, like if you're not a part of them
The
or something, I
Overlords.
guess if you're wearing that armor, they may bump you off or something. I'm curious
Yeah,
about who they are.
The Overlords, they're like a
Overlords.
vigilante group. Yeah,
Yeah, the Overlords.
That's
Yeah.
what I thought. That would have been my answer, but my other answer would be some Banu Suli that
Okay.
I'm
The Banu
not familiar
Sulis?
with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Banu Ship Suli. For your friendly local Banu Suli.
Exactly.
It's more of a persona, right, than a faction. I don't know anything about about sort of the in-lore factions, so I can't really comment on it. But I do need to get going. I just want to say thank you so
Thanks,
much
Tim.
for being on the show. Thank you both Soul Citizens, Fastcard, and Griffin, guys. It's always really great to see. I look forward to seeing you at Citcon. And we'll see everybody at Citcon if we get a chance. Okay.
All right,
Come
man.
up and
Take
say
care of
hi.
yourself,
Introduce
buddy.
yourself.
Thank you.
Take
All right,
care.
cheers, guys. Bye for now.
Yep. There we go. Got it. Thanks, Tim. All right. And there we go. So I'll say, what is my favorite in fiction or lore? This is lore org, because that's the other one. That's hard.
I mean, you know
I
about
know a
like
lot
50
of them.
at least.
Yeah, I know a lot of them. I had
Maybe
one in
one
my
on
brain.
Terra. Maybe one on Terra.
No. Like there's one that was in my brain that I completely I was like, oh, that, and then I just completely blanked on it.
That's why
I'm
I
in
take
trouble.
note.
I'm in trouble, Fast Card. I should have mentioned my wife's org. I completely slipped my mind.
What's your wife's org?
I'm actually married to Twitch Pacheco. Y'all didn't know that. So,
Oh yeah, there we go.
I should have said that one. I'll be in trouble.
The Atoni Syndicate. You were married to a mob boss.
Yeah, absolutely. Great protection, brother. Great protection. Shoot.
Gosh. I had it in my brain, and then it flew out the other side. I guess I'll do the standby answer and just say the Bremen Defense Force, probably, because
Defense Force.
they're the blueprint for the CDF. So the CDF
Oh,
used
okay.
them off of them.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
Basically, Consolidated Outland was built off of giving them ships. So like they're in Bremen. That's where Consolidated Outland is Bremen. So,
Okay.
yeah, I would say them. And if it's not them, then actually, probably the Otoni Syndicate, because they're cool. They're very cool. Because the way they work is they don't work like a normal mafia
They're a
organization.
syndicate. Yeah,
They're a syndicate, but the way they work it is they send out seeds. So like they build an organization, and then they send out seeds into various different systems, and they try to get people, and they say, okay, you can create your own version of us here, and you'll have complete control over everything you earn. But we'll help you at the start. We'll give you that seed money. We'll give you that money. Give you everything you need. Get you started, and once you get up to speed, once you do it yourself and you can stand on your own, then you have a voice in the syndicate, and you can earn all of the money that this is in the system. We just take a little bit of a cut rather than being, like the whole thing. So yeah, you're reading all the answers in chat as well. So, there we go. All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you, Griffin and Fastcart, and of course, Stim Citizen, who had to leave us. You can find all of us next week. I will not be live next week because I will be at CitizenCon. So you'll be able to catch me live. I think I'm actually going to be on Space Tomatoes' little podcast thing.
Right, you got to stop by us too, because if we can push out from the table, we will. We're going to do like a post show, like reactions kind of thing, not very long. But if you see us there, come over.
Yeah, I'll also be at the JRDF booth. I'll be at the. It's officially announced that I'm on. With the fight or flight stuff, so I'll be doing some fight or flight stuff there. I got to train tomorrow and this week to try to, the best around sort of thing. Knock off the rust of my old PvP days. So, but it's mostly for fun and such. So,
Cool.
Anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and thank you for watching. If you enjoy this, make sure you check us out at twitch.tv/TheAstroPub, youtube.com/TheAstroPubLive on Saturdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. We'd love to come to see us live when we do this. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black.
Hey, Zeus!
All right, so